Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Legion Lads. I am your host, JR, and today we got Rob, Jose, and Roman. How's it going, guys?
Yo,
Hello, it's going
yo.
good. Nothing's
So,
really changed the past couple weeks,
nah,
so kind
same
of
boring game, nothing going on.
nothing to talk about today.
We're just gonna shoot the shit. But no, mini
This actually
extravaganza.
this whole podcast is an intervention for Jose. So
Intervention.
Get the haircut going. Where's your
Intervention.
haircut at?
intervention.
My forecasting skills are through the roof. I should be a weatherman.
You need to forecast Maul's return in the movies. That's what you need to do.
No, I'm good.
Ooh,
He should
there we
stay
go.
buried in the desert.
Dang.
Even
Um,
if Obi was classy enough to bury him, I think Obi just threw his corpse around a rock and walked away.
Oh, okay.
he
That's
needs
that's
he needed
nice.
somebody to talk to in the cave. What are you talking about? He was there hanging out. Yes, mini extravaganza happened last weekend, and holy cow, we got a lot of information to go over. So that's what we're gonna do this podcast is go over the rule book. But before we do that, we just finished up the 2024 league. Rob, take us to that. How'd
Well,
that
okay.
go?
Well, not the 2024 league, the first league of 2024, right? Because it's
Yeah.
still 2024 and we have another league coming up. So
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
yeah. So
Part
Is
League
there?
one.
Two.
Is it
Part
just?
one.
Is it
Episode
just
one.
the? Yeah,
Yeah.
is it just called the league?
So there is in fact a Legion 2.0. It's called the Legion Lad League Season 2. Um, and for all those local to the Fresno area, and we are keeping this a little bit tighter to the Fresno area this time around. Please feel free to sign up. The info's in the Legion Lads Discord, which I hope JR posts after or on every single one of these videos.
That's the
So you can
plan.
see it there. All of the like specific rules for the league are in the Discord posted in the league announcements channel. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message on Discord. I'm tagged as Rob. I'm sent all the announcements. But the biggest change from this season versus the last is number one. Well, the biggest is there's no sort of entry fee. What that means is there's also less prize support. I didn't. I'm still gonna try to do the same amount of stuff ish, but just a little bit less of like the extra stuff. I'm gonna use the. I had a couple, not a couple. I had some extra money left over. I'm gonna push that for this league as well, which is kind of how I'm able to do the no costs. And what I'm gonna do with that is basically just some new cards. And I don't even know what I'm gonna make now because command cards. I mean, I just made them and now they're useless. So maybe more command cards. Who knows?
I mean, are
Uh,
they useless?
No,
They're still,
no,
I mean,
like
they're still
standing orders
usable.
is good.
They're still
yeah,
usable. They still look great. Like everyone was happy with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're really great. We could still use ambush, push, and assault in the game.
Yeah, they're still in the game for now.
Yeah, for
Um,
now.
but yeah, no, jokes aside. So the biggest changes for League Two, first of all, I'm keeping a pretty like set number for the main, not the main league, but the higher league. It's gonna have 8 players, which is gonna sort of set up the foundation for all the other leagues or other league for now. Um, and so the people that are in that league, have already been told they know to sign up for that league. And the Bart League now is just going to be an open league, which means that anybody can join. I'm hoping we can get 8 players in there too. We can have 16 players in the total league, which would be awesome. But if not, that's okay too. We'll make it work. If more than 8 people sign up, that also will work. We'll just not have everybody play each other once. Just like last league, this is going to be a round robin sort of situation. But unlike last league, I've added basically a ton of different ways for you to gain points other than just winning the game. Like last league was all if you win, you get points. If you don't win, you get nothing, right? And I kind of did that for the sake of simplicity. I'm like, all right, I want to just try this, just have everything the same. You win, that's it. That's all that you need to do, right? This time around, you get a lot more points just sort of naturally. So for each standard league game, you gain a point for winning, a point for playing, a point for having painted minis, and then a point for playing at Legends, so we can support
Hold on,
Robin.
hold on. Go back. So
Oh,
painted minis.
and correct minis.
Oh yeah, and correct minis. So
Yeah.
no
No
proxy
proxies.
samurai.
No samurais. Explicitly called out in this ruling here, JR. It was entirely personal. But no, again, it's an incentive to hobby, which I don't, I'm not a great hobbyist myself, but it's an incentive to do it. So you can get extra points for doing that. Um, there's also ways to get bonus points. So you can get up to 5 points for going to mini game nights on Saturdays so that it's not just the same 3 people showing up all the time. You could go to paint night instead if you want to get some hobbying done there. And so that's max of 5 total. You can also play exhibition games, which are bonus games against different players in either league. So this is kind of I'm trying this out as a way to sort of get people in the Lisa League to play people in the Bart League and vice versa. So if you're gonna
Just incentivize you to play different players, yeah.
Exactly. If players in the Lisa League want to get destroyed by people in the Bart League, let them. And I did say
It's
that
good
correctly.
experience.
So yeah.
So play me, please. I gotta learn these rules.
Yeah, JR has to lose a little bit more to be happy.
It is
but yes. So you have ways to get extra points as well. So it's going to come down to points. I'm going to try to post the points weekly. They're available in a Google spreadsheet that I've posted in the Discord. I'm pretty sure I've posted it. So you can go and check those yourself. But yeah, so that's all ready. Please sign up. We start that on August 1st. So I'm going to close signups, not August 1st, August 3rd, a Saturday. So I'm going to close signups the 2nd, probably, basically whenever everyone signed up. I'm going to be out of town on the 3rd. So it'll be one of those things where I'll try to get it set up and ready to go for round 1 on the 3rd. But it might end up being pushed back a couple of days just because I'm literally working Gen Con on the 3rd. So, but I wanted to get it starting super fast.
That's awesome. Pretty awesome.
But yeah, so League 2 is coming out, and that's the only thing we have to talk about today. So this has been a great Legion Lads podcast.
Awesome. League 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, before we jump into the actual meat of this episode, with the league, are you going to do the same thing at the end of the league where the 2 top play each other?
Okay. Yeah, so I really liked the ending. The way it sort of played out was a little bit anticlimactic because, JR won again, but hopefully with these new rules, he just kind of isn't as good now. So we have a little bit more competition in the
We're joking around. What if JR just can't win with this new game? He's like, this just isn't my game anymore. I suck at this. Can't win anymore. I'm just getting He's like, why am I just can't win.
Every king has his reign. I have to lose that eventually.
Yeah. Eventually, hopefully.
JR will be
rather than later.
He'll be that Warhammer player being like, oh, back and forth edition. I used to win all the time.
I'm gonna come in with a Warhammer shirt. It's like, I'm switching over, guys. I don't screw this game.
Warhammer, they just came out with the new edition too, right? There we go.
10th, last year.
No. I thought there was a new Warhammer this week. It doesn't matter. It's not a Warhammer podcast.
The Age of Sigmar, yeah. No, the fantasy one got a new one.
Who cares? Not a good game, anyways. Anyways, but yeah, so there will be another finals. I don't know where, I don't know when, but it'll be around when the league ends. So hopefully I can find somewhere cool. Maybe Chris will hook us up with me and Ed's again. I don't know. But yeah, so
doing top prize, or I know you said not a lot.
So the top prizes were there's not going to be a top prize anymore. The top prize is just going to be knowing that you won, which I hope is enough for the person who ends up winning. But there will be prizes for everybody that plays again. I'm going to do cards. Definitely want to do more command cards, but I'm also kind of like thinking about some other things, especially with how a lot of these new cards are just different now. So, it might be kind of fun to do like some upgrade cards with actual, images on them.
Artwork, yeah.
Yeah. And, if we're the only ones.
Image isn't enough.
Yeah. Well, it's not even a placeholder image. It's just a lack of image. So
yeah, it's so weird. It looks funky.
Yeah, but we're not going to get to that probably today. So yeah, so I'm ruminating. We'll see. Anything that I do hand out will be Simpsons themed. So if you have Simpsons suggestions for stuff, please.
Well, if anything, what we can do, because do you think this season of the league is going to be done before the new year?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we can just do
I think
if you're trying to do physical cards, I know, right? If you're trying to do physical cards, you can just do the battle decks, like just fun Simpsons battle deck cards. Because I don't think the new core set will be out until next year. Like they already said 2025, so who knows what that means?
Oh yeah, who even knows?
I like the idea if you print out the mission to print the deployment on the back of the card.
I kind of disagree.
Yeah,
I like having so Daniel and I both played, and he printed them on the back, and I printed them separate. Mm-hmm. And, unless you have a clear sleeve, having 2 separate cards is really nice because then you get to have both of them in front of you at the same time.
Yeah, but all you really need to do is have a clear sleeve, and you put up the deployment, and then after deployment, you're done with it, and you flip it back over.
Yeah, but when you're in that ban phase, which you need to go through what we're even talking about. Well, when you're in that phase, you want to be able to see both.
You don't ever ban the. Yeah, I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So why don't we just start getting into the main course for the day then?
Yeah. So let's do this. So we're gonna go over the core book, mainly Rob, because Rob's like our text guy. He like studies all these rules and shit.
Turns out just reading a book is enough to make you a quote text guy. What has this world come
to?
We didn't have to read a whole book in years, dude.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Rob's over here teaching. He's got this down, baby.
Oh my god.
So a lot of things have changed. The way Legion has played is differently entirely. So I feel bad.
I just want to push back. Go.
No. I was just gonna say I feel bad because we're teaching. John's teaching a lot of new guys, and they just learned the game, and now they gotta relearn the game, especially in our Bart league, right?
So
wild.
Yes and no, because there are some minute. Okay, there are some minute things that are super annoying that they're gonna have to just straight up relearn, right? Like movement is different now, cover is different now. But for the most part, the way the game plays is basically the same. It's all the same stuff, the same rules for the most part.
I think like, the biggest changes that are going to affect everyone's the turn 0 stuff and the deployment. Exactly. After that, it's small little changes. It's like small things here and there. So yeah, it's just gonna be really annoying to learn the front end of it. You know, basically how to start up the engine, and after that, I mean, it's just gas and brakes and steer.
Yeah, and for those that have just recently learned the old rules, I think they'll still be okay with the new rules, and it'll be one of those things where it's like, the less they've played, actually, it's probably better because then there's less of this is how we used to do it, right? So
that's true. Yeah.
What's annoying, and it's not really that big of an annoyance, is on the components for the rulebook, they don't have the half range tool. It's not even there.
Interesting. Didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I was like, what? Okay. Anyways, all right. Starting us off. What are the changes, my man?
All right, so to kind of go through this a little bit systematically, I'm just going to open up the book and just kind of go through the big changes as we see them in the rule book itself. So if you want to follow along at home, just go download the rule book at the AMG website. It's like, I don't even remember it, but literally I always just Google AMG Legion rules.
I'll have all the links in the description.
The links.
Yeah, so everything.
Okay, perfect.
Play, all that good stuff.
So kind of the first major massive change for this new edition is that the battle deck is gone. Like you can, if you have those cards, you can just go throw them in the trash right now. The only time you'd ever get to play them is if it does. Well, okay. Yes and no. They're all gone, and it's bad, and it feels bad. But like I'm sitting back thinking, like last January when I got into the game, I was super frustrated. I had to go buy these boxes just to get the battle deck.
But you're gonna have to do that.
I spent
come out with new battle decks.
I spent $50+ to get a battle deck. That was crazy.
Optional. You could have just ran the stock ones in the core box.
Oh yeah, let me try to play competitively.
You didn't have to, but you didn't have to buy those.
No, not just that though. Rob didn't buy the core set though. He bought the Battle Force that didn't come with that.
No, it came with the Essentials kit. The basic ones did.
That's what I'm saying though.
I got them from somewhere.
No, you got it from the Essentials kit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That didn't come in the Battle Force box. You had to buy that separate. So you're spending $30 on the Essentials kit, and then another 25 on the priority supplies, and then another 35 on the whatever vital assets. And all these minis we can't use anymore. I know the minis kind of upset me. The cardboard I was like whatever about.
Yeah, the minis I'm just like. Now you have more random terrain scatter, I guess. Like
I kind of want to set it in a box and then just have it just in case, because Warhammer and other games have definitely gone back to stuff. They're like, oh, remember this?
I'm not throwing none of my stuff away, bro.
So and the other thing too.
What about your upgrade cards that you tossed?
Which ones?
Remember all your upgrade cards? Remember when you were arguing that they're not giving us upgrade cards in the kits anymore, and then you sort of
I still have plenty of those, dude. But everything that they're saying, like throw away, trash it, like my face.
I was joking.
I'm keeping all that.
We're
Yeah,
joking, yeah.
don't actually throw anything away.
All my promos are useless now.
And look, at the very least, okay, battle deck promos to be. Oh, your phase 1 and phase 2 promos are the only ones that are useless.
My
jokes on you,
promos,
Jose.
My Saber promos. Jose, all my promos are bad.
You don't have any more phase 2s. I have them all.
Okay. Anyways, but no, yeah. So keep it, and look, there are going to be people that want to just play old battle deck. I totally would. Just like, hey, let's play old battle deck today. Maybe we keep 1,000 points, maybe we don't, but just old battle deck. Let's go. Let's try the rules.
That'd be an interesting idea.
Yeah. Maybe I do it for the next league. Probably not, because we're definitely doing bounty hunters, because I'm super frustrated we didn't get to do it this league. But I'm not throwing a bunch of homebrew on top of a brand new rule system.
If you watched, I don't know if you watched the last podcast, but I was just like, okay, we definitely need to have Rob on to explain the bounty hunter, because I know some people who are like confused a little bit. And then this
such a cool idea.
It's a cool idea. Like I was excited for it. And then this drop, and when you said, okay, we're just gonna learn this, I was like, thank God that we could just learn one thing. And
no, I'm not crazy enough to make you guys learn 2 things.
Yeah.
So initially, when you messaged that, I thought you meant like, oh no, we're gonna keep the old rules and then do the bounty hunting stuff. I'm like, why?
No.
and then JR was like, no. He meant the other way. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so instead of the old battle deck, let's kind of just go over. I'm going to go over the new cards, and then why don't we just go over Turn 0 super fast, right?
Yeah.
Well, should we read off the new battle cards?
I don't think we should do that today. I think we should do that later. Okay. Like specifics sometime later, right? Do you agree? What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think that's need to know information.
Yeah, I feel like
because you're like Turn 0 important. We're not talking about these cards.
Yeah. So like,
okay, yeah. Well,
I have it pulled up. I can go over them.
No, yeah, that's totally fine. So why don't I explain what generally is going on, and then you talk about the specific missions and stuff. All right.
Yeah.
We can do Turn 0 specific in another episode where we go over like card by card how it's going. So we can do like a new Legion Turn 0 like episode where we go into it, what we want to do and stuff. You can kind of go over it tangentially because you're not going to be able to explain like the deployment zones and stuff.
Yeah, why don't JR, you go over like generally how because okay, let's be honest here, a lot of these new missions are exactly the same. So let's go into that. So the first thing that you have is, first off, you still have red, green, and Roman
orange, which is upsetting. I wish it was blue. Red, blue, green, RBG. Like it was, like it's always been.
But now you
but they don't want
yellow or orange or whatever.
Change for the sake of change.
Can
just leave the color alone.
And the way they sort of play it is similar but different. So red is both your main objective and your deployments all in one. So every time you play shifting priorities, you will have the same deployments. And there are a couple of cool like images online that say this is all the deployments and all the POIs. Basically all of these objectives are some form of, you're going to place something on the board, and you need to have your army near some of these items, and they're called POIs, points of interest. And you need to basically control them in some way, shape, or form. The specifics are a little bit different, but it's not like Old Legion where you have hostage, where you're not playing around the map, you're playing around the miniatures. There's no recover the supplies, where you're like dropping little stuff and trying to take them, right? So it's a lot more standardized for now. What I've been told is that, like MCP Shatterpoint kind of started this way and then got crazier with their objectives. Can you confirm or deny, people that have played those other games?
So it's kind of, again, if it was like their other game where you have your red missions and your blue missions, your red missions are the extraction ones. That's your objective. Like you grab stuff and you run around with it. And your blue missions were your hold ones. They're like what this is now. Like, where it's like, yeah, these are the ones you got to stay around here. You can't, like, you have to be on them basically one way or another, like you said, control them in order to get the points. And then your red ones you run around with. So they'll probably do that later on, where they'll add more like extraction ones, whether in the form of a main mission or a secondary, because I can see it more as a secondary, right?
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. But for now, all these main objectives are basically claim this point. Shifting priorities is the most interesting, probably because you move them around after they get claimed. But the rest of them are weird, static. Yeah. It's definitely weird. I don't want to ever play it, but it's cool. I just get flashbacks to Shatterpoint where I did that against JR, and like he'd always put the objectives in like super advantageous positions for him, and I'm like, oh, somehow me scoring this point makes me feel worse. But maybe it'll play out differently.
Yeah.
The next type of card is the secondary objective. So these are the yellow/orange, not blue. And these have more interesting things per
player
se.
specific though, right?
Yes and no.
Like everything I've been reading has been saying that your secondary objective only benefits you, and then the opponent's benefits them. That's what I've been reading.
No. We'll talk about advantages in a moment. But secondary objectives are, other than claiming these points, here are some other things that you could do. So a good example is there's one that says give people suppression. There's another one that I played with Daniel that's also go claim points, but differently. And so there's
one where it's like kill people in different areas, and then both people can. It's again, it's secondary, like a mini objective.
And everybody can score these. What you're thinking of, Jose, are the green cards, which are advantage cards. Yeah. And these give you, frankly, minute bonuses. Like they kind of don't matter.
I think they matter.
And so some are better than others.
Bonus is a bonus.
But advantage cards are supposed to be like, this is what I have on going for me and only for me. And so a good example of that one is like, there's one that says you get a pass token on round 1. We'll talk about those later. You can place down barricades. You can do this. You can do that, right? Like small advantages.
There's one that's like strategic or like cunning deployment, where you get like dodges after you deploy. Like 2 or 3 guys can get dodges or something like that. Like something really small. There's the like strafing run one.
Yes.
Like they're small. They can make a difference. It's like a generic officer's like command card, like the Karen and the Rebel. It's like it's like one of their command cards.
I like ordnance because, like, let's say you don't have a lot of impact in your list, you could put ordnance at your advantage, so that way I have a way to do damage to armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of giving different ways to approach the game. And so the way the new turn 0 kind of works is that you and your opponent are now going to build your own decks and interact with yours and their decks when building the mission, right? The old system was, I am blue, I have the bid, I get to decide I'm red, you're blue, and if I'm blue, I get to use my deck. If you're blue, you get to use your deck. Now it's everybody uses the deck, right? Everybody gets to use it, or their deck. You only bring 3 of each card instead of 4. And you have a similar but quite different ban sort of system going on. So does somebody else want to explain the ban system so I'm not the only one talking? Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me? Okay. So pretty much what happens is that you first roll 5 attack black dice, and you both roll them. And whoever has the most crits, that determines who blue player is. And if they're both tied, then it's going to be hits. And if both tied, it's going to be surges. And if it's still tied, you re-roll again until there's a determine who is blue player. So then the blue player decides
Crisis Protocol.
Yeah, exactly. Blue player decides if they want to play their main objective or their secondary objective. And then from there, red player plays their objective depending on what blue player picked, or the secondary.
The opposite.
Yeah.
So it's like Crisis Protocol. Whoever has initiative gets to decide if they want to play their red missions or their blue missions. But in this game, it's, do you want to play your red missions or your orange missions? That used to be blue. I'm still, again, out of the whole game, like, this is the only thing that actually pissed me off was the red and the blue. They're the only thing. Like, everything else I can deal with, I'm like, whatever.
You know what?
It was probably so simple to keep it.
It's probably because it would probably confuse people who play Crisis Protocol and Legion.
No, it'd be easier. It'd be easier to be like, oh, it's like red and blues. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, it's like red and blues. Cool, I know how this works. Like, oh, red and oranges. Oh, it's kind of the same. I don't
know. For the sake of change, Rome.
No, somebody made a good point. It was the logo.
Yeah.
Do you know the logo's orange?
Yeah. Big, orange.
I'm like, they should have made something else that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but continue.
But anyways, so after.
Well, yeah. So then after whatever the blue player decides, red player chooses the opposite. And then they get the top card of their deck. So you shuffle your deck because you each bring 3 cards. 3 objectives, 3 advantage, 3 secondary objectives. Yeah. And then you shuffle your deck and you flip over
your advantage deck, to be clear.
Don't you do the objective one as well?
No. You only you played wrong this morning. So you do this. So blue does primary or secondary.
Yeah.
Red does the opposite. Then both of you flip over an advantage for yourselves.
Right.
And then after that, you get 2 ban phases. And during your ban phase, you have a couple of things you can do. First, you can take blue player if you're red player, which we'll talk about what that means when the game actually starts in a moment. You can also switch the primary objective. You can switch the secondary objective. You can switch your advantage card, or you could switch your opponent's advantage card. And of course, you can always pass.
Hold on.
I thought they were random.
Hey, hold on.
I've heard somebody say that they're random.
It is random. They are random. Whenever we say switch, we to be clear, I mean,
okay, you're just vetoing what's out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you're vetoing what's there.
So you shuffle 3 decks. Advantages. Yeah. So you shuffle 3 decks, and then once you start taking out the cards, if it gets used, it's tossed. Right. So if I have the advantage cunning deployment, and then I veto it, and then I now have Garrison, I pulled that from the top of the deck that now has 2 cards. So you know what is left, right? You know, okay, I have a 50-50 shot to get this, right?
That's or what I did in my game.
Yeah, or if you veto your own thing twice, right? It's like you veto your primary twice, you're like, I know I'm going to get the final of my objectives, right? So there's a little bit of playing you can do with that.
But you said, so what you can also do too. So imagine it this way, Jose, you're putting out like, right, they said the mission with the deployment, the secondary, and then each player has their advantage, right?
Advantage.
The crazy thing too is, so let's just say you're like, I don't like this mission, I don't like this deployment or whatever. You veto it with your own though, right?
Yes.
Like you put your own, and then if you're like, oh fuck, Rob's whatever objective or objective deployment thing card sucks, or for this list or this deployment or whatever the hell it is right now, you can switch it out with your own again, and it might be the same one if you brought it, or it might be completely different.
Right.
It's a little weird though. Yeah.
So
it's a little strange.
As an example, in Daniel and mine's game, we started off with the secondary objective that gives you points for having suppression on the board, and I was playing Krennic, and so he said, we're not playing that. And I said, oh, yeah. And then I flipped the top of my secondary objective, and it was also that secondary objective. And so he had to then veto it again.
So he took it in his battle deck then?
Yes. But, he didn't know he's going to be playing against Krennic. So
yeah.
He didn't.
Did you take Krennic Vader?
No, I took Krennic out, but I think Krennic Vader is just straight up better because you need the melee beat stick to deal with other melee beat sticks.
And the infinite courage, so they don't panic, dude.
Yeah. No,
I'm pretty close.
Yeah, we can. If we have time at the end, we can talk about my game and your game with Josh if we have time.
Okay, but yes, hold on. I want to go back to the veto.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue. Hold on, I'm still reading. Go ahead. Continue.
What's your question?
Now he wants to read.
Well, because I read it already when I was playing against John, and when we played, we were trying to determine, can I mess with your advantage? I don't think I can.
So,
but it said.
Okay, so quote, your opponent reveals the top card of their advantage deck, discards the current card of their advantage space on the mission dashboard, and places it with the newly revealed advantage card. Yes, you can, because that is on your turn, that way that you were messing with the mission. Quite explicitly.
Okay, so I can choose him to...
You can mess with his advantage, yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, which I didn't realize when I played against Daniel either. Not that it would have affected what we did, but when I was explaining the rules to him, I didn't say that. And then I went through and I reread the rules before this pod. I'm like, oh, we could have done that too. We wouldn't have, but we could have,
My favorite thing in deciding this is you could take the blue player token to be blue player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, if I stand correctly, the only advantage in doing that is now blue player picks the table side.
Correct. And that's
but they can take blue player back.
Well,
so if you start out as red player, your final ban can be taking blue player. Mm-hmm. Which means that starting red player is potentially advantageous. Who knows?
So this is what Jose does. He's like, oh, let's just move this building out of the way so we can do the deployment deck. He goes, no, I'm going to take blue player. We'll leave that there.
When it comes to these cards, there's something that pissed me off.
Ooh.
Because it was in the Discord and it was official. So when how those missions have like the tokens, if any of those tokens interact in a way where your unit cannot interact, both players must agree how to move that terrain piece.
Correct.
Where the game type can be played. What fucking player is going to agree that to move a piece of something to advantage them? Like, I hate that. Just say it can't be put here. Secondary position would be this way. Like
no.
Okay.
this is a good problem point, right? Because we so far we've just been explaining. We haven't really talked so much about how we feel about this, right? On purpose, because I told them beforehand, let's not spend the whole pod saying we hate this or love this.
I got a lot of feelings. Okay?
I don't care. I hate
I'm not
it.
making you guys.
That's so stupid.
But so that's an interesting pain point, right? Because I kind of agree. It's like, okay, now we have to figure this out in such a way every single game. And in casual games, it shouldn't be a problem. But when you get to the competitive scene, you can't build tables where it's not going to mess with some of these objectives. There are just too many of them spread too far over the map. And so to me, there needs to be in their tournament play packet some sort of rule as to how to best do this. Like always move them towards the back diagonal of the board, right? Like you always move them further away from the center or always move them closer to the center. To me, the best rule, and this is how I will personally play it, is make it so that, or move the piece of terrain as little as possible in a direct line so that you can still have the POI, or so you can legally place the POI, right? So if I need to place a POI here and my build, I don't know how to do this. I have nothing to pick up.
Well, I had this happen in my game against John. Is I had to put a POI underneath a building, and
so you just the whole building.
The whole building, like it was right underneath it. So me and John ruled it to where just move it back.
Can it not sit on top of buildings at all?
It's only when it
we placed a couple on buildings.
It was my castle.
It's impassable terrain or terrain that your guys can't interact with.
Correct. So we placed them on buildings.
You can. Mine was just the castle I have for Tatooine. So it goes like this. And I was just like, let's just move it. And I agree with you. You want to move it the shortest distance. So wherever the POI is at, move it in an angle to where it's,
and I think
but they're not gonna do that.
So I think in a tournament setting, realistically, it's going to come down to call a judge. Whenever you have a problem, call a judge. This is beyond roll a dice, right? You can't just roll a dice and say, I want it here, let's roll the dice. No, this is beyond that. Call a judge. I think it's not great that we have this sort of pain point where we're going to have a lot of judge calls probably, but we'll see, right? I think we need to see it played out, and I think that that's one of the things that they'll probably edit in the future, if I had to guess, to make it more clear what they exactly want you to do.
To be honest, if it's a casual game, talk with your opponent, it's not that serious. I mean,
of course.
You got to have a lot of foresight to know that terrain is going to really matter for your army, right?
Yes.
But on top of that,
and in the tournament center, you're probably just going to see a bunch of just flat little buildings towards the middle in general, just to cut down on this. There is a lot of POIs that are going to be put in different spots, so they're just going to have to figure it out.
And I think,
go.
No, you first.
No, I was going to say it's just going to be up to the TO. Either they're going to put something in, like you said, in the tournament packet, or the TO's just got to be ready for the beginning of each round. A bunch of judges and that, which is fine. I mean, you go to a big event, that's what we're already signed up for, right? We're calling judges over for line of sight rulings, this and that, placement. Like that's a different.
Well, here's my quick interjection about that is like, so I haven't read through the book. Players are still defining terrain, yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here's my the thing that I was thinking of is like, cool. So this rule specifically for objective play on something impassable, something that units can interact with. Well, now you're deciding the table. None of these movement measurement things are going to change. All the cards are the same with the same plot points, the same POIs, whatever. So every player after enough time is going to know where these POIs are. So now when it comes down to impassable terrain,
you don't know what is in your opponent's deck. And like I said, these POIs are so spread out across basically the entire board that there may be a way to game it if you know exactly what they're going to bring. That's my thing.
My thing is with Legion, old Legion, you could always bank that there's VAPs, there's KP, there's intercept, because it's just competitive play. These are what works. These are what give me the best advantages. And I don't see that changing with this deck. So once it all gets hammered out, people are going to know these things. And then it's going to be simple as this is where this is going to go. So, hey, guess what? That's impassable. We better make a judge call. So people are going to game.
You don't know what's going to be there when you're defining terrain. You don't know which cards you're going to get.
You don't know the set ranges. It's a set range.
Okay, so my
I can
game is
eyeball range.
I don't want to. I don't think we should get bogged down in this because this will last. We'll spend a long time here, but
let me
I
just
think
say
that yeah.
go ahead, finish what you're gonna say.
No, I just want to. All I want to say is like I think that this is something where it could be a problem, and we'll just have to see. But I don't think we should make any rash like this is going to be the biggest issue, and just define as if you don't know. And the one thing I wanted to say earlier before you went to that is when you are looking at in your ban phase and you're looking at the deployments, talk about the terrain as it sits as soon as that first deployment goes down. It's like, all right, this is where everything sits. Okay, is that POI going to work? Is that one? Okay. Let me, and because before the first ban, both of you could swap to blue. All right, both of you have the possibility of becoming blue, that is. You could swap the objective literally 4 times. Like, so just talk about it like each time a new objective comes up. Like, all right, what are we gonna have to move? Like, just spend a moment, nothing, great. This, how would we do it? Okay, now I can make an informed decision about how to react.
The
right?
defining terrain doesn't have a phase that it's done in, right? Because like
It's
the thing
before the game.
It's before the game.
Before the game.
Okay, yeah. So then you can't do the flip and then be like, hey, what are we gonna do?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're defining the terrain. Then I'm saying, all right, this is how we've defined the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the POI came up. This building's right here. The POI is going to mess with that. How do you think we would move that?
So
just right then and then.
My game against John, I loved it. Right, I built my table like I normally do. Had an LOS block.
So it was bad.
It was so good because you didn't know what map you were going to have. Well, because we're still learning it, right? And it was all over the place that made use of all the terrains. Like normally, Legion was always fight for the middle. This one made you going everywhere. And on top of that, these are new battle cards, what we've been wanting. There's also good, I can see them for doing more battle cards in the future.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like it's extending now that all unit types matter for the objective. It just, to me, it was fun. I had a blast.
Especially knowing that they spent 3 years on this, like it makes sense why we haven't gotten new battle cards recently, right? It's like, well, because they've been planning for this.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it could happen in the next couple of years, right? Definitely before 3 years. So
for new battle cards besides what they've shown.
Besides what they've shown,
they can probably what they can probably do is what they did with Crisis Protocol with the new core set, the mightiest core set that was bigger, is they completely redid the objectives like they did on this one, and they had the stuff that comes in the core set, and then they had a special pack you bought separate with even more stuff.
Oh, that's cool. So
they might do that with this one,
which they probably will, because it seems like they're really doing they're doing a revamp, right? They want to sell us a bunch of stuff now. So, but anyways, let's.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it seems like Shatterpoint has been getting more and more objectives, right?
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
I
they're on their third pack, I think.
Exactly.
So we might get a lot of objectives, and this whole point is moot. It's like you will have to talk about those POIs and where they're going to go when you get your new objectives, right? Like,
I'm all for tons of objectives. The more battle deck stuff there is, the more variety you'll see, the more randomness, the more chaos, which is good. You should have a little bit of like, oh fuck, man, I should worry about this, or bring the right list for these crazy missions, or something more well-rounded. Or
what
try
if
to
I play
skew
this?
it a little more.
Yeah, ironically, exactly. I feel like it's going to be less gimmicky because there's going to be more missions. You don't know what they're going to have in their deck. So the train's going to be like, it should always be scattered around the table. So you're just like, okay, you can't prepare for everything.
Right. So,
or you're going to be like, I'm taking my one crazy tool and I don't care about the secondary and my advantage. And I just got to ban out the objective.
Yeah.
So
or take
going beyond turn 0, I think the first big change we need to talk about, or not even just talk about, but just to mention, is the game is now 5 rounds instead of 6, which basically means that games are not faster because turn 0 is way longer, and also there's a lot more stuff on the table. 1,000 points, right? I'm sure everyone already knows.
Which we didn't mention that the game is now played at 1,000 points.
Yeah,
11,800.
So much
fun. Technology makes so much stuff.
It's wild. It's just I don't know how I feel about it. I like it because you can bring a lot more stuff, but that means your opponent also has more stuff.
The game is just so much more murdery now.
Yeah,
like it just
which is cool. A lot of people like that already.
Yeah, I do.
They want to kill.
Like, I'm happy.
And then the way the objectives is it forces you to kind of be in a centralized location so you can kill. No more grabbing a box and running away and being like, my guy's safe for the rest of the game.
Yeah, which is another thing I liked.
So going into some of the
more points, and then there's no bid, so there's no reason to not take all the points and all the upgrades and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're going to be seeing more units and more stuff, which is cool.
Unless skew list, right? There's no point in building your list around recover the supply so you can run away with it like you had said, Roman.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, get on the objective.
Yeah. Anything else for turn 0 general stuff before we talk about? Oh, yeah.
Deployment.
Yeah, deployment. So real quick, there's now max of 12 VPs. If you get to 12 VPs, you win the game immediately. Then and there, if you're tied, it keeps going. And then if at the end of the game, and I think this is huge, at the end of the game, if VPs are tied, it goes to kill points. And I think with the way the game is played now, you're always going to go to kill points if it's tied. Like, it's not going to be nobody died and we draw. It's going to be way more difficult to draw on New Legion, and I'm super excited about that. Like,
even if you are tied on kill points, you both take a draw.
Yes,
yeah,
which sucks still, but I doubt that ever happens. At least not commonly. And if that does happen, it's because somehow you magically both shot off the same amount of points on the board. Like, I didn't talk about it, I think, on the pod, but like at RageCon, my second game was a draw. Worst game of Legion I played in my life. I don't blame the opponent. I hope he doesn't blame me. But like, it was me with Palpatine, him with Yoda, both at 800 points. We're playing Sabotage. Nothing happened. It sucked. And this doesn't seem to be here anymore. Number one, you have to move a lot more to get points.
Love it.
Which means that you are more at risk the entire game because you can't just hide. And so I think that, these games are going to have a lot more killing. And that's fun, at least to me, right?
I agree.
Yeah, people like to.
It's also scary.
because you're like, my unit's gonna get just blown off the board.
Yeah,
but I think that's why they made the super units now, right? With the core, where you can just double your initial minis, which is wild because it's like I'm still like I'd rather just take another activation. I'm like, yeah, but taking out 4 or 5 dudes to kill a whole activation is easier than taking out 10 guys.
Yeah. You know what? Out. Honestly, I think they did that to sell more boxes, but I ain't mad.
So here's the interesting thing, right? Bad Batch makes a heck of a lot more sense when you know there's now 10 mini stormtroopers walking around. Like, all of a sudden, oh my God, there are 11 wounds or whatever, the biggest amount of wounds in the game. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, now they're just kind of normal. Wounds wise, like not normal, but they're not as abnormal.
In my game against John, I had 6 B1s with the extra 7 guys.
And oh my God!
You could just.
How do you have that many minis already?
I had a proxy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he
illegal.
He could just not murder them all. It was
Jose.
So much fun.
You need to go to his place and break them all.
Flamethrowers, everybody listening, flamethrowers.
ATRT stocks went up.
ATRT stocks went up.
You know the best
part?
All
3 ATRTs.
Flamethrower.
The best part about it was, instead of rolling naked B1s and getting 1 crit, since I had double the amount, I got 2 crits in a row.
that isn't that sad though? Is when you're attacking, it's still like, oh, cool. 2 results.
Yeah, it's like
11 dice.
Yeah.
Hey, the secret is to play stormtroopers, because every time I roll my 4 stormtroopers, 2 crits. 2 crits.
There you go.
3 crits. I'm like,
when I would run my 6-man stormtrooper units with 9 white dice, I'd be like, oh, cool, I got 7 crits. Nice.
Stormtroopers, everybody. Stormtrooper stonks are through the roof.
I don't know if it's going to be meta, because if it is meta, flamethrowers are going to be meta. But it was fun. It
always keep it in check. You'll see one event being won by like 1 billion B1s, and then the next event it's all flamethrowers, right? Triple dewback or a bunch of ATRTs.
I mean here, just double bounty, Din, Boba. You get your double flamers, easy, and you have 2 bounties.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like, there you go. You heard it here first. Double bounty is not dead, even though I personally think it's dead. It's not dead because they can both have flamethrowers. Heck, they can have, Boba can have 2 flamethrowers.
So that's
2 the price of 1.
Plus 3 dewbacks, with flamers, or 3 ATRTs with flamers if you're a rebel scum.
Then of course you have your 6 flamer snows. Next time I show up against JR, it's gonna be all
my God, dude.
Joke's on you.
Well, and then,
I'm gonna bring B2.
You know what though?
No, please don't. I'm scared. I think B2 spam is way better. Dude, the B2 spam, I was looking at lists, I'm like, I don't know how you beat this. But anyways,
okay, hold on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
I do want to pick Rob ahead about this, because I've been building a B2 list. I came up with Grievous, Pago, 7 B2s with the B2 Ha,
Here's what I did. Here's what I did. 7X, Sunfac, B2s, all with the double squad, half of them with the ACM 24-point thing, just all B2s. 7X. Come at me, bro.
I think you need the B2 Ha because like taking away the cover is huge.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters as much anymore. But anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to talking about turn 0 is now over. We're now on turn 1.
We're so much for 5 minutes.
We are choosing command cards, which have changed in many ways, such as you now have 6 cards and only 5 rounds. So you just have a dead card always.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
That feels bad.
The most interesting thing about the command phase, though, is you have a new phase in the command phase, the pass pool phase. So the only thing that would allow my 7B2 list to actually work, I don't think it actually would, but it'd be fun. Just to have that many B2s on the table, come on. But the way it works is every round you get a number of pass tokens equal to the difference between the higher activation army and the lower activation army -1. All right, easy math now. I'm playing 13X. JR is playing 10X. 13 minus 10 equals 3 minus 2, which means that JR gets 2 pass tokens, right? I don't know if that made
-2. You meant -1.
No, -2. Oh yeah, -1. Sorry.
Why did they do the minus? Yeah. Like I don't get. Like why not just give them the difference?
Because they still want to incentivize high activation lists, right? They're just trying to even the gap without making it so that low axe and high axe is no difference, right?
So question,
real quick, one more thing about these pass tokens before you ask your question. You may not use them consecutively, right? So you can't spend the first 5 acts. So if I was playing JR, 7 acts to 13 acts, I can't pass for 6 acts. I have to activate, pass, activate, pass, activate, pass, activate, pass. So there is still an advantage to having that higher activation army as well, because you're going to activate, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind.
You didn't know that. John passed like 4 times. I was like, God.
In a row?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the first things.
You would have read the book, JR.
No, that was one of the first things Daniel I looked up because we were trying to figure it out. He thought it was that way. And I'm like, I don't think so. And then I'm like, let me look just to be sure. And I'm like, oh, it's in the pass rules. You cannot use it 2 turns in a row.
So then my question is that let's say you said the example, I have 2 passes.
Yep.
If I don't use my passes, do I keep them the next round?
No. So every round
that's part of the command phase, remember?
Yeah. So every command phase you create your new pass pool, and at the end of the phase it disappears.
Tarkin's gonna break that. Tarkin's gonna, or not Tarkin. What's his name? Thrawn's gonna let you carry him over.
Oh, that would be insane.
Who gets to carry one over?
But anyways,
hold on. I was gonna say I thought the reason why we thought it went over is because the advantage that you get add 1 pass pool on the beginning of the activation phase, that's just gone after that round.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Another thing that's super crucial is in Old Legion, I have 10 JR has 9 I kill one of JR's acts early in the round. He activates that act at the end of the round. Sorry, like pulls it from the pool. Sorry, still have to pull again. Now, if you kill a unit, you can then pass, or a dead unit, you can pass now. So I'm not saying it's not as good to kill units early because it's still really good to kill them before they can activate. But now it's not as much of a detriment for whoever lost that mini or that unit. So that's something
what do you
to
mean
keep in mind as well.
If you lose a unit, that unit becomes a pass now, like the activation token, or what?
Kind of. So I'm going to read the exact rule. So, quote, if a player draws an order token with a rank that does not have any corresponding friendly units on the battlefield that do not have an order token, remove that token from the game, then that player may pass.
Yeah, so it becomes a pass token.
So
pseudo pass.
Yeah, you can basically you can decide to pass or draw again, then is what it's saying.
Correct. If they did not pass and still have units, they must choose to activate a friendly unit or draw from the back. So you can still go or you can pass. But if you kill somebody with the face-up order token now, that token disappears still. So there is that incentive, like, okay, I want to kill things that have a face-up rather than just generally kill stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. The next
you have to draw it from the back and be like, oh, this is a dead unit, I'll pass.
Yes. You can't just say you killed this B1 unit on the board with the face-up. I'm going to pass now, right?
But the way the rules made it sound is the way the rules made it sound though is you draw from the bag. So let's just say you draw
it's
from
when
the
you
bag
draw
and say,
from
oh,
the
this guy
bag.
is dead.
Yeah.
But then it said, I think the rules when you read them, it said you can either go to the bag or do a face up unit you have on the field too. You can be like, oh, well, this changes things and
another that face up that you have, right? So like you pull it from the bag, you get a core, and it's like, well, this is dead. I can either pass or I can go with the special forces on the board, or even a core on the board with a token already up, right? You can still use people that are on the board with tokens.
Interesting.
The next major rule is that cohesion has changed from speed 1 to half range. We haven't talked about the half range tool, but they added a new tool for some reason. That's 3 inches. You can find them in a couple of the what are they called?
Organized play kits.
Yep.
Organized play kits. So I got one from Dynamic Exit.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah,
that's where I got my
Exit.
one. Yeah. And isn't it Pablo's Wild Ride?
Yeah, Pablo's.
No, I don't.
I think it
that one that well, but
no,
it's in the asset too.
It has a POI token though, right? Because isn't the speeder the size of a POI?
Yeah.
So it does have a POI, a fancy Ewok POI. So
wait, are the payload carts on a speeder base?
Ooh,
yeah.
So you can use your old,
cool. I'll just use that.
you can use your old payloads for POIs. It's good enough, basically. It's not actually tournament legal, but good enough for casual play.
What is tournament legal? Print and play?
Oh yeah, the print and play 2-inch things, and I'm sure that there's already a million ways to get them online.
Massive.
Yeah, Etsy's already blowing up. People are banking.
Oh, yeah, the free ones from ZVM.
I saw some really cool ones, dude. I saw one guy that was making like 3D sculpted like with minis and stuff. One's like, oh, the bunker will be this and this will be this. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool.
That would be sick.
I like it. Especially because the POIs are just like, they're not going to be falling down. Like, they're going to be flat on the table or flat on a piece of terrain. So
yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
That is cool. And you're just really, for interaction, it's really just measuring base to them, right? Because there'd be some points where like, I'd like to use my fancy 3D boxes for recover the supplies, but it's just so much easier to flip a red and blue token for active and or controlled and not controlled.
Yeah.
So but I think you're really just checking range, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's all you do in half range.
The next big change, and this is the one I think we should spend a little bit of time on because this is the biggest, in my opinion, this is the second biggest change they did in the entire game. And that is the change to deployments. And yes, I think this is bigger than cover changes by a mile.
Yeah.
So
don't sigh, Jose. I like it.
I do too,
like
actually. I really like this new deployment system.
Go ahead. I'll just explain it.
What's the new system, Jose? Why? Well, just tell us what the system is before you tell us why you hate it.
They're walking onto the field like what?
Yeah. How do you physically do it? Like, how do you do it?
You put the mini at the board edge, and then, it depends because they have the stupid keywords now, the infiltrate and all that other nonsense.
So for normal deployment.
Yeah, it's board edge, and then your first action is deployment. Your second action is your speed move.
Well, or whatever, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It could be whatever you want.
It's going to be a speed move most of the time.
Yeah.
Right. But so instead
you don't want your B1s in a line like how I used to play.
No, well, no, because your first action is they move up. So you put the movement tool on there, and then they deploy with the speed. That is the
deployment.
But you're gonna need if you're running horde.
Jose's saying you're gonna move again.
You need to make if you're playing horde style, like 30 B2s, exaggeration, but giant horde balls are gonna need to move up to make space.
Mostly because John had ARC troopers that have Scout 2, which is nice. Scout 2 allows
Scout is the best keyword in the game. One of the best keywords in the game now.
So now you get to move onto the battlefield for free using the Scout, whatever the Scout number is. And then he double moved up. And then all I had to do with my B1 was move on, deploy, and I was in range 3. I just move, shot.
Yeah. So don't do that.
Yeah. Rex scouting party, awesome. And then tactical goes off with Scout now too.
Yeah. So scouting is significantly better than it used to be. Not because it was bad before. It was really good before, but now it's like basically you get an extra action, right? It's a full free action. Like before it was as well because you have to do all the movement stuff, but now it's like no, you are literally gaining an action. So
Well, the thing that sucked before with the old scout rules is you couldn't touch objectives, which was ridiculous, dude. Like the whole point is
yeah,
scouting up, you're gonna do this stuff. Whereas now, if you could, you can scout up as close to the objectives and basically hold them. You can dodge, stand by, you can aim, shoot. Like you can be at the objective if you're able to. It's not gonna be
yeah.
like no, 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 no.
Now, gameplay wise, having your army not start off on the board is super interesting to me because when you're deploying now, the game's already begun. So you are already having to think about objectives, where I want to go. And they might shoot me if I deploy this guy too early, too far forward. Like you just said, like John's first instinct was, all right, well, I'm just going to double move up with my arcs so I can get into range 2. Boom. B1s all just come out in a horde and start shooting at them. So it's like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that round 1. Maybe I need to start back and then do this or that. So it makes it a lot more interesting, at least to me.
And
it also,
yeah.
I'm just gonna explain is that for those that notice, it's round 1. You still play a command card, and since you're deploying, when you play a command card, you can issue orders to them off the board. So like, I could do my daisy chain of B1s off the board because they're all considered within
all
range.
orders are infinite range. You can order to anywhere from anyone.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So round 1 against Daniel, I had 13 acts and I played Palpatine's entire Legion.
It's wild. It is wild.
It does cause some problems for Remnant because now, like, in the deployment zone, they're all in range of each other, so they get issued orders, or they're not getting their independent round 1. That's unfortunate. So now they had independent from 6 rounds before down to 4 rounds now. A little bit spicy, but yeah, we'll see how it ends up playing out competitive wise. I think we've already talked about Scout as the first alternate deployment. We should probably talk about the other 2 alternate deployments. The first being prepared positions, which is you start on the board. Basically, you do the old deployment. So you deploy on turn 0. Kind of don't like it. I kind of wouldn't recommend doing it a lot. Daniel prepared positioned Anakin on one side of the board. So my entire army went to the other side of the board, and it took Anakin until turn 5 to show up.
Why did he do him? He did him before your art. Like I'm trying to
because Anakin's new 3-pip is prepared. He gets prepared positions for free.
Yeah,
you can still use that command card later.
So the benefit of doing that is
the divulges. That is,
you deploy before round 1 starts, and they get a dodge in your friendly territory.
Correct. So the main benefit, especially for an Anakin, is I start closer to you. My first 2 movements aren't getting out of my deployment zone. I can start at the edge of my deployment zone. Right? So that's literally an entire turn closer.
Not just that. Like, maybe not with Anakin, but like if you're running like the FD, the dish turrets and stuff, you can start setting up lanes. You can start controlling the battlefield.
Yeah.
So like you said, you started deploying on the complete other side away from him, which just sucks because it took him forever to get to you. But then also like, well, now you got that half of the board. So it can, for certain objectives, not be good. Like you can kind of start, especially someone like Vader, right? You're infiltrating in or whatnot. You're kind of controlling the flow of battle a bit, or at least influencing it one way, whether it's good or bad, you are influencing it. So there's one benefit to that, but yeah, a lot of the times it's just gonna, you're.
If you have prepared position, do you have to deploy them?
You do not have to use it. It is in May.
You can also choose when to use it, right?
Like, no, so the way prepared position works is it is a phase at the beginning of the game in turn 0. It is units, or you do it's basically like you and your opponent take turns alternating your prepared positions. So yeah.
I gotta say, going back a little bit, I don't know how I like it that it's going to turn 5. Only because now deployment is in turn 1. It feels like you're spending a turn just getting into position, and then you have 4 turns to do everything.
Exactly.
The objectives are so close though, and they're so clumped together that I don't think it's gonna affect it as much. Like you'll have some games where it mattered, like, oh, if I had an extra 6 inches of movement or whatever, but also you could do stuff to do that. Like I made a list with a bunch of scout, stuff like that. But when I looked at the objectives, the ones on the ends are pretty far, but a lot of the times they're kind of clumped up pretty nearby.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying taking Vader with Infinite Courage. Most of the stuff will be within a foot and a half of him.
The game is a lot closer than before, and it's also a lot. I think like in all the games I played, I was shooting turn 1. Like, granted, I was playing Empire armies with a lot of range, but my opponents were shooting range 3 round 1 as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
that's what I noticed. Round 1, you could be shooting at range 3. Round 2 is range 2.
Because you're now incentivized to move forward a lot quicker than you were before. Old key positions, you can move up, but you have time.
I'll hang back. Yeah.
Like
I got 6 rounds to move up.
Yeah, now you better be scoring on round 2 or you are on the back foot. Like back foot. So I definitely think it's one of those things where it's like those first units that deploy probably not going to be doing a lot of shooting. But those units at the end of the round, you better hope that you have a good enough order control to like get the units you want to go last because they might be able to shoot, especially if they're longer range. But we talked about there's one other deployment style that's unique, and that's infiltrate, which to me is the strongest out of all of these. Infiltrate is like prepared positions, except it's on your turn when they activate. So Vader's Darkness Descends, now he infiltrates, and he infiltrates at the edge of his deployment and then gets 2 actions. So you deploy, burst of speed to move twice, you're probably in their lines, especially if you do it at the end of the round. Like 0 to 100 now, rather than, I may get in, I may not, especially because they're pushing forward a lot quicker than they were before as well. So
at first I thought it was per position was the best, but you're right.
Infiltrate by mile.
It's the secret information that you get to deploy, and then you get your 2 actions.
Yep.
Did Vader lose Scout on his Dark Descents?
Yes.
He did, yes.
Okay. It wouldn't do anything now. Like it literally wouldn't do anything.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's deployment.
Wait, transport.
Oh yeah,
I like infiltrate. Oh yeah.
Oh, go. No, talk.
Well, I was saying I like how infiltrate feels more like an actual infiltrate now too, because you pop up whenever you want. So it's like he was here the whole time. He infiltrated literally. So the problem I had with Vader's Darkness Descends is besides Long March, I'd never use the infiltrate because you can get blocked out real easily. Then you miss out on the reliable 2 for nothing, like literally for nothing. Like you got to deploy, like you end up just scouting up from your deployment zone. So it's cool that you can at least be like, I'm gonna pop him up instead of he's starting on the board already before we even activate. It's like, no, I get to choose when he comes out, and he was hearing your face the whole time, or you thought he'd be hearing your face, so you kind of spread your guys out, and now I'm over here holding this objective. Like it's just, I don't know, it feels cool, it feels better.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that you could divulge Dark Descent, but you also could play it to get reliable 2?
No.
Did they change
still says
that?
If
I don't
no. It's always been one or the other. You don't get both.
It's always been one or the other.
Always been one or the other.
It says if it was not divulged, you can play this.
So they changed Maul's 2-pip. You could play Maul's 2-pip now and divulge it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh wait, now I need to read the card again.
Yeah, almost all of them have always been if you divulge it, you're not going to get the other one.
This one says,
they got rid of the line underneath it.
No, the line's still there, but I was asking because Maul's changed. That's why.
Interesting. So they buffed Maul a ton.
Yeah.
We'll talk about units later.
Yeah.
Because they also nerfed Vader's stupid. But anyways,
fuck, man.
The next major change is movement. You just now move further now, and you can move from range 4 to range 3, range 3 to range 2, and onwards, right? So now it is a lot easier to get further, right? Even making these moves even better, right? Like the infiltrate double versus speed type stuff. Like you're getting into the enemy lines. Like you're just straight up moving farther. The way you do that is you, instead of placing your mini fully in your movement tool, you just place it on the prong. And, somebody, I think it was Nick, said like they're probably just going to release Shatterpoint-esque movement tools where it's like one end has place the mini
and one end's flat.
Yeah,
because you still have to divot. You have to still put the mini in one of the divots, but one of the sides can be on any of the little prongs. So it's going to be basically like Shatterpoint and Crisis Protocol, where one half of the tool is flat.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much going to be getting the whole 6-inch like movement. Again, we're getting closer to Warhammer.
Yeah.
3-inch and 6-inch increments.
The other major change is
transport. We forgot to go over that.
Oh, transport.
Yeah.
And this was a spicy. This is something Jose didn't like at all either. So why don't you explain to us the new transport rules?
So transport back in the day is, if you guys haven't used it, was basically You would have like your bus, your lat, your snail tank. You put it on the field wherever you're gonna put it, and then boom, you could pop your guys in there, and they could stay in there as long as they want, right until the wheels fall off, right till it explodes, right till you get where you need to go. And that was a very cool a very cool gimmick I liked, because like it didn't always work out. As somebody put Vader in a lat, Vader in a Gav, it didn't always work out, but when it did, it was awesome. But now with the rule change, now you're gonna, you can put your unit in your bus. We'll use a bus for example.
Yeah.
So now when you deploy your bus goes to your board edge, and then you make one full move with your bus, and then after that move,
which is your deployment, to be clear.
Your deployment. Then your bus just says, "Hey, tickets up, get the F out." Then you spit out your guys, and then the bus that's on your friendly bus now locks its doors, and you can never get back in.
Yeah, so it's basically transport is now just an additional
range 3.5.
Well, no, it's just an additional way to get onto the board.
Yeah, right? But it's further than you normally would.
Correct, a little bit, but it doesn't really matter if it's much further or not, right? Because it's kind of lost its flavor, like you just said, right? It's for one, it's only special forces and core, so no more Lukes. No more Vaders, no more anybody in the transports.
That's crazy, dude.
So the land speeder's dead then?
The land speeder's not even a transport anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That's
so now all you bring the bus for is no guns, just a medic bus. That's medic and aims.
Well, I mean, you might just bring guns now because
you bring guns, you bring shields, you bring backward medic, you can bring the aim guy because it now contributes to the point, right?
Yeah.
All objectives.
Yes.
So
yeah.
It's still a great line of sight blocker.
It's so flimsy though. That's the problem.
Not the lat got buffed too, right? Like it's more like killy now as well.
It got an extra ordinance. Yeah, we'll go to that later.
And then I think they've done a bunch of stuff. So I think they're trying to compensate for them like not being so much as a transport as like you said, a curbside drop off. Like get out, they're a bad.
Here's your DoorDash. Like, Vader, anybody?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think transport is still good. I think it's the weaker of all of the new get onto the field cards.
Well, it's just the most expensive.
Yes, but at the same time, what's the huge thing about these keywords that you get you on the field is you get your 2 actions, which is huge.
Again,
for one.
Especially because it is bringing you further forward than any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then also if you could take the bus, like it is a great line of sight blocker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
bus is not dead, folks. You heard it here first.
Maybe the land speeder, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Land speeder dead, Gav tank dead.
And on that, anyone on a notched base gets a free reposition at the beginning or end, or no, it's always at the beginning. Yeah. So the first thing you do when you move to notched base minis, you can rotate it up to 90 degrees now, so that helps vehicles be more mobile, move around more. Right, they're not quite as stuck in whatever one direction they're going.
So they get repositioned during each round of just.
So it's the first thing you do when you move is the player may rotate the unit leader's base of 90 degrees to the left or right, keeping the center of the base in the same place. Yeah. Anytime you do any notch-based movement. So this is vehicles, this is emplacement troopers, and if they have reposition, that means you can rotate 90 degrees, move, rotate 90 degrees, and if you have full reposition at the end, you can rotate 180 degrees, right? Or 360 or whatever it is. So
do a 360 just for the flash.
360 E-webs.
There you go.
I was gonna say
no scope E-web.
360 no scope. Yeah, I was gonna
I was alluding to that.
Edward.
But it does mean that the E-web Gav is dead, unfortunately.
Bummer. Edward's crying, dude, right now at home.
So
actually,
it's him.
I did console him for hours.
On the bed. Edward's just on his bed looking at a picture frame with the E-web on a Gav
on top.
And while we're talking vehicles, there's no more displacement rules. Anything can walk over anything, dude. Which is
that's so
wild.
Weird, man.
So how does that work in Melee? You just drive over, you don't go at all?
You just drive over it. You have to be able to fit in the end.
Yeah, you can't land on it.
You can't land on it.
So it just limits your. So you can just trap stuff in then, or at least like a vehicle and stuff. Whoa.
Yeah.
So this is like when, you know what? This is like when they during the mass protest when they flooded the highways. Like you're just stuck there, bro.
No, you're just stuck. You can go to ground vehicles now.
Yeah, you can walk through vehicles
Yeah,
too.
you can just walk through anything now.
Same thing though, right? Is you got to be able to end the movement over them though, right?
Oh yeah. You still gotta get
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. That's so weird, man. But yeah, besides all this, we've done deployment. How do we? So you said we got points. We've started the game. We're shooting each other, and you score turn one or what?
Turn two. Most of the
Turn two.
objectives start scoring turn
All
two.
right.
Yeah. We probably should have mentioned that way long ago. Good catch, Room.
Yeah.
Well,
Turn one is just
I feel like we're
setup.
He's
progressing.
learning
Like
in
we
this
did the battle
podcast right
deck.
now.
Well, we're doing we did the battle deck turn 0, turn 1
Turn
deployment.
1. Yep.
So you said turn 1 we're not scoring. So
we're just getting into
turn
position.
2 happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing before we move on to other stuff is this is more of a kind of a Jedi change more than anything, or just melee change, is you can withdraw without it taking your whole turn.
Dumb. I don't like it.
Yeah. But when you withdraw, you cannot shoot at all or stand by on that turn.
Did we confirm that you can withdraw?
What do you
Yeah,
mean withdraw?
you can. It's just a move action.
Withdraw at a double melee.
So
right?
what I used to love to do with Maw is double move and standby, and then if whenever I'm engaged with withdraws, I just go back into it. But now what you can do is if Maw does that move standby,
You can withdraw again from him.
and if he procs the standby, it goes back in, you withdraw again. But if
Yeah.
he doesn't proc the standby, you just do a move away and he can't reach you.
Right.
Unless if burst speed is proc, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely spicy. So but yeah, I think it's time to talk about a couple of the other big changes, probably the next big changes. And
Everything,
that's cover and LOS.
everything's a big change.
Well, it is. It's
It is.
I know.
There's a lot of, I mean, to be frank, a lot of these aren't that big of changes. Like the deployment is a big change in how it's felt, but like rules wise, it's actually not that big of a change. Right?
No, it's big.
But it's in practice.
I think the biggest changes are definitely the turn 0 deployment stuff. After that is just minute differences. Like again, it's just gonna be this is very much like when they released the 2.0 rules before the last LVO, not the one we just passed, but last year's, where it was again the battle deck was changed too. Was it went from having your 3 and you get rid of the 4th one to no, you have all 4 out now. Cover change, if you guys remember, they changed how cover rules work. The only thing that's different now is obviously the way the objectives and the deployment is. So it's just a bigger change. It's an even bigger change.
Yeah. What were we gonna say? Oh, so the next big change is is LOS and cover. The first thing is vehicles don't get cover at all. I just feel like I need to mention that before I forget.
Huge.
But
That's
it's
good.
actually
I
huge.
like that a lot.
I don't like it. Jordan's got another nerf.
Yeah, as needed. But yeah, so I mean, LOS really didn't change that much, but cover did. And so first off, in order to get cover, you have to be within range 1/2 of whatever you're getting cover from.
I love that change.
And to be very clear here, it's every single miniature does. So if you're trying to pack behind a barricade, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I just thought you just had.
I hate it now.
Every single miniature does. So there were times where like I had 2 miniatures within range 1/2 of a building, no one got cover, and these are shots that should have been like full cover, not full cover, but like clearly heavy cover before, because it's like literally you can only barely like my whole unit is behind this building, but like the unit leader can see one guy, another guy can see the rest of the unit, which sounds always worked LOS wise. But before it'd be like, all right, well, this is clearly still heavy cover. Now it's like, nope, no cover.
So they found a way to make cover worse.
So just so I understand, it has to be all units, or can it be half and they get the cover?
It's so when you're determining whether or not a specific miniature is getting cover from a unit or from whatever, that miniature has to be within range 1/2. Which means that when you're determining if a unit has cover, it's still 1/2 of the unit, right? So there's a lot of play with it. It's not like your whole unit needs to be right next to this, but enough does that they actually get cover from it, which is just one of.
Let me give you a scenario. So I had a bunch of B1s. Was it 14, 13 B1s?
Yes.
And then old rules, there's a barricade in the way.
They get heavy cover.
Clearly obscuring it, but I was half range, so they get. But let's for simplicity's sake, just the unit leader was in half range. They still get the heavy cover.
No. So now you have 13 B1s. Now 7 of them have to be within range one half of that barricade where a line is going through that barricade. Good luck, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So these big squads are going to have a hard time getting cover.
They're literally gonna have to like file behind it, like
yeah.
Because when you do the double squad, you do get the 6, right, for cohesion.
You get
for
cohesion. Cover, they still have to be
for cover.
Which makes sense though. Is how are these guys being covered by these tiny little barricades? I mean,
5 years from now, when we get Legion 3.0, we're just gonna get the rank and flank squares. Just put them all on them.
I'd like that. I'd love that.
No.
Well, that's good to know because I thought first you decide if half of it's obscured and if you're at half range, but now
you're cheating again. With new rules, you're already cheating.
No, it's
already.
No, it's
all part of the plan.
He's learning. Yeah, but now if he tries it now, he's cheating, right? Yeah. It's okay to be wrong, but if you're corrected, gotta get it right the next time.
You hear that, John? You were cheated, bro.
Dang. John's gonna get JR like freaking like Pile in Full Metal Jacket. Part of the sock.
All my B1s were just shooting this by this barricade. Only the unit leader was by. Like, yeah, I got him covered, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, but I almost forgot to ask. So, if the unit leader is touching the terrain piece,
does not matter anymore.
Whoa.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Well, because unless the enemy is within range one half of that piece of terrain.
Well, what if they are though? What if you're like?
So if they are, it does matter, right? If they are, it does matter. But for
okay, so that's still a rule then.
Yeah, it is still a rule, but like 90% of the
so
most of the time it will not matter.
I just want to clarify. You're saying one half, so range 1 and the 0.5, or you mean just the
half? Range half is 3 inches.
3 inches.
Okay. For clarification, I'm just like, I'm not good with numbers.
Yeah.
Just bring a tape measure, bro. We're warhammering it. I'm just tape measure. You don't like it? Suck it.
He's like, stop dividing my numbers.
AMG at the tournament, AMG's like, yo, you can't use that tape measure. Well, you didn't provide me a fucking tool now, did you?
Okay, calm down.
That was not wrong.
But yeah, no. They're like, why didn't you print out the piece of paper?
Piece of paper. Yeah. Bring me a goddamn tool.
It's all curled up. It's all curled up. Me. You're like trying to uncurl it.
Jose goes and prints it out on like a jumbo printer or something.
Fruit by the foot, bro. I'm gonna have it tattooed on Fruit by the Foot. Have Omar just do it for me. Roll it
out. But anyways, yeah. So that's the crazy cover change, and we haven't even talked about the fact that cover actually entirely changed. So
yeah,
new cover. What's new? So I have heavy cover. I have light cover. What does that mean?
So that means that now you roll a dice. So let's say you shot at me. You get 5 hits through. If I have light cover and 1 crit, if I have light cover, I get to roll.
If you have any cover, dice. You roll 5 white dice.
I roll 5 white dice, and I only block those on a block. But if I have heavy cover, it's block and a surge. Now the crit still goes through. So total, what you said, it's a 6 pool, but 5 of those are hits. So I roll 5 white.
And now let's talk about something that happened in my game with Daniel. All right. 5 through crits. All right, I have low profile, which now just basically turns one of those dice into an automatic block. And then I rolled 4 or whatever. All 4 blocked.
Yeah.
Which means that cover is now swingy. Yay. I hate this so much.
We're fucking playing
hold on.
We are playing MCP. Like here's what I come to realize in this little short time. So AMG loves
you like it. You like MCP.
No. Yes, I love it as a different game. So my thing is AMG loves Shatterpoint. They love MCP. Those are their babies. Me and Jared have always been our pitchforks about that. And we've been very adamant that AMG did not want Legion, want nothing to do with X-Wing. And so if I'm stuck with something, you know what? We got these 2 things that we love. Let's just make the third one just like them.
I mean, if the option was
fucking dumb,
game dies or it becomes more like MCP, I'll take game becomes more like MCP. So
I am on the fence about this change because
he wants to roll his 20 B1 saves.
Because it feels good, right? It feels good and you roll white saves and you block,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels bad if your opponent blocked everything you just shot at it, right?
And so it makes keywords like Sharpshooter 2,
and
And
blast.
blast.
Well, JR, just roll crits, dude. I don't know why you're complaining. Just roll crits.
Robin, I've been salting my dice so much.
He can roll crits. If Rob rolls blocks, it doesn't matter.
Well, so you do not roll cover with crits.
Yeah, crits still go through.
Yeah, so that my biggest complaint about the new cover system is adds an extra step, and I hate that. I don't want to.
Yes, I 100% agree. It's just
that's
more
very
time.
much Warhammer, which I agree.
And the dodge and cover, the dodge doesn't even apply till after those results.
Glad you said that. Yeah, the dodge applies after the results, which is huge.
Well, it's always done that, to be clear, right? It's just before it's been shortcutted so much that it didn't matter. It's like, all right, heavy cover, dodge, right? They're just doing them at the same time.
Yeah,
like,
now the cover rule's just taking longer. Instead of just being like heavy cover's flat 2, and then we go to the dodge, it's like heavy cover. Now let's roll a bunch of dice.
Well, not only that, but like dodge. I shortcut a lot when I'm playing because I do a lot of thinking when I'm moving and stuff. So like when I'm doing dice, I'm like, let's get this done. 1, 2, 3, roll. I'm like, I roll. I'm like, all right, I got 3 crits, 2 hits. This is what you're doing, and I tell my opponent, and then they like verify, of course, and stuff. But like now it's like, okay, we have to do the cover, and then you don't know if you're going to spend that dodge, and that's the important thing. You don't know. Right? If you roll 3 dice for cover, you might roll 3 hits and you don't need to spend that dodge. You might roll none, and now you really need to spend that dodge.
Right. And this is after they roll their attacks, their re-rolls, blah, blah, blah. This is very Warhammer. Warhammer is a lot like that. You rolled a hit, you rolled a wound, then they rolled a save, then they roll their final save, whatever it's called, which I'm not a big fan of. That's one thing I liked about Legion is they do all that math and whatever with the dice, right? The different colored dice.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? The big thing that people are gonna have to look out for now, because there's gonna be so much re-rolling of especially defense dice, because it already kind of happens with the attack dice, is for both new and experienced players. You got to keep an eye on, be more diligent with people that are fast rolling, where it's like you got to be like, all right, they rolled, look at the results, make sure it is what it is, then continue, because you're gonna be getting a lot of people that are like, all right, roll cover, cool. This all blocked or whatever. I'm like, well, no, you only had light cover. That was a surge. And it was, no, that was a block. I re-rolled rolled my blocks and stuff. And it's like, you just got to be on it more. Which again, you're just adding more opportunity for assholes to be assholes,
or just more opportunities for mistakes, even. Right?
No, assholes. You said it right the first time.
No, I'm saying 2 different things, Jose. Obviously, those are assholes. I'm not disagreeing with them. But like, if somebody's gonna lie on what the dice says, right? But like, no, it's just also just straight up more turns for mistake. It's like, oh, I was supposed to roll 3 dice. Oh, rolled 4. Or as you just said, like there was a time where I fast rolled on Daniel. I didn't even realize it. I'm just like, we're trying to get this game done, and it's like I roll, and he's like, oh, I didn't have a chance to see that I was doing this, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And it's like just one extra step where that can happen, right? And I totally cheated Daniel, by the way. That's why I won.
See, assholes.
What did you do?
I'm kidding.
Robert's like, wait, hold on. Maybe it is the same.
Especially when you're trying to keep a game fast too. It's like it's like it's just so much stuff you have to keep an eye on.
Dude, when we went to LVO, it would take so long to determine the terrain, set up the battlefield. It's already eaten 15-20 minutes and deploy. Just to start round 1, you're like, all right, let's get this going as fast as we can. Like, so already you're going to want to play fast, and that can be a detriment to you if you're a nice person sometimes, unfortunately. You can be like, I'll take your word for it. Yeah, you did roll a crit. Yeah, that was a block, not a surge or whatever. Like, it's just, again, you just got to be more diligent is all. And you got to be willing to put your foot down a little bit and be like, no, dude, you got to make it so I can see, like, you're not gonna. I want this to be a fun game, and I think that's just in general in any game. You're just, again, like you said, you're adding more opportunity for error, more opportunity for mistakes that happen.
Well,
but we've already gone. What was that?
I was gonna say that's why you should always go with the rules. Make sure your opponent sees your dice before you declare what happened.
I stopped using my dice tray because of that. Like whenever I would play, so if you've watched my last few games, I don't use a dice tray anymore. Because what was going on, not saying that I was being accused of anything, but like there were games where I played and like I got clones with aims, boom, exemplar Anakin, cool. And I have a habit of pulling my dice out here, pulling straight up and down, straight up and down. And then I would be like, hey, I got that. And they're like, are you sure? Like I'm pulling them straight up and putting them down. Like you know, and then that just happens so many times. I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm just rolling on the mat now. Like I don't use a dice tray anymore.
That's fine. It's not to call you or assume you're
No, I
cheating.
know it's not.
It's
I
confirm,
just hate
like,
I hate that,
let
dude.
your
Like,
opponent confirm what you rolled, and
Yeah,
then
it's definitely easier to see dice when they're rolled on the table. I make too much of a mess to do that.
yeah,
So
Well, I know Robert's a freaking klutz, man. Like,
I don't like it's bad.
dude, yeah, minis, dice, everything all over the place. I
Oh,
had like 2 broken minis on Saturday.
oh,
no, those were broken before they came into the shop because they had been sitting in a drawer.
Another instance.
They were sitting in a drawer
No,
because
but
yeah,
because you broke them at some point.
at some
All right,
point,
so we
yeah.
went over we went over
So yeah, cover.
Turn Zero
So
deployment.
so there is a
cover.
way to get old heavy cover, and it's only if you're a cool guy. And by cool guy, I mean a commander and operative. If you are a commander and operative, and you're within range 1/2 and an LOS of a friendly core squad or guardian squad, or there's some other ways to use this, you can use backup, which lets you negate 2 hits on any incoming attack, which is really good because it sort of protects a lot of these heroes on the way in to a fight, or just that are sitting in the back line, right? So
Does everybody have that?
everybody, it's just a new game feature. It's called backup.
yep.
So yeah, you can only use it if you're an operative or a commander. So like your stormtroopers can't get backup, but
Obi
Veers
can't
can.
get back up. I thought I heard.
Obi can't get backup because he is Guardian, and Guardian explicitly states that you can give backup to other units, even though you're not a core. But yes, you cannot receive it.
So Guardian units like Obi, Chewie,
Yeah,
the Royal Guards.
So like if
no.
So how does backup work then? Do you just automatically, is it just heavy cover, or are they guardianing for you basically?
it's heavy cover.
Automatic heavy
But
cover.
Okay.
The attacker, by the way, the attacking unit has to be beyond range 2 as well. So like if you're attacking with say scouts or B2s or something shooting at range 2, then you have, the backup's going to come into effect less times.
Does it have to be beyond range 2 of the units that's providing the backup, or
when a unit that is benefiting from backup is attacked by a range attack, by a range attack, and the attacking unit leader is beyond range 2. So it's the unit being attacked. So like if you're attacking with a range 2 gun, they will not get backup. But if you're attacking,
if a core unit is suppressed, they cannot use backup.
I was going to get to that next. Yes, the same is true for Guardian, by the way, both in giving backup and in guardianing. We're going to talk about that maybe again later, but I wanted to bring it up since we already talked about.
But let me also note before we continue with backup is that going back to the cover rules is you no longer get light cover off of 1 suppression.
Oh,
you have to be suppressed to get light cover.
That's a huge change as well. Yeah,
you have to meter exceed your courage value. Yeah. Yep. Back to the backup though, and it being heavy cover is so can you get backup and the cover?
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So I shoot at Rex.
Okay.
I get 5 hits, 2 go to backup, rolls cover, gets 1 off, uses a dodge from that clone over there, uses one of his own dodges, 0 come through.
Ooh.
Yeah. Gets spicy.
Clone token sharing is still 1?
Still 1, correct. Okay. But it's at range 2.
Yeah,
one
we're not getting range. I was just making sure. Yeah, they increased the range.
Oh yeah, range 2 for clone sharing.
Whoa.
Yeah, they changed a lot. That even goes for take cover, a spotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
we'll
no
get to that.
We'll get time. Maybe today, maybe later. Who knows how long it takes us to get through the rest of this?
I don't know. I'm gonna go back to playing clones after hearing all this bullshit.
Jose scouting party, now. Super strong.
Anakin
too.
But yeah, so we basically went through most of the attack phase. Let's see, what else is there?
Objectives or anything different with cleaning up?
I'm in the attack phase. We're getting the end phase is next. One other thing that's worth mentioning, because it's the next thing. I'm now on page 36 for those of you following along at home. Is standby has completely changed. It is no longer as good as it used to be. I think I can safely say. So before I stand by and the enemy comes within range 2, I can do an attack or a move, period. Ahsoka force pushes Darth Vader, and I have 5 standbys. All of those proc. New standby has a lot of stipulations on it. First of all, you can only attack a unit that procced your standby. So, you can't save a standby to shoot somebody else, right? You have to attack that unit. And the other thing is that you can't proc a standby with force push now. It has to be walking into a standby has to be of your own volition, basically.
To be clear,
I'm on that train now.
To be clear, any friendly like effect that moves an enemy unit to standby cannot proc a standby.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know other than force push how you move enemy units anymore though.
When you used to be able to run them over.
Right. I said anymore.
What about pulling the strings?
Or Vader's Might.
Vader's Might is the one other version of this, I think.
But that's more of a placing. That's more of a placing than moving.
No, you yank the whole unit.
Yeah, but it would not proc standbys anymore.
It wouldn't proc the standby.
But it would before. I don't think it would before either.
No, it wouldn't before. It wouldn't before.
So it doesn't even that hasn't changed.
It's not an action.
So yeah, so the only thing is now you can't force push basically.
What about Luke's serve your master well? Can you make a move action with them or is it attack?
Yeah, you can move or attack with
can you proc a standby with it? Probably not, but let's take that to the rules forum and not worry about that on the spot. Because you're not the one controlling it. Because the wording is.
But you could attack their.
Correct. You can still do the command card. What I'm saying is you can't use that unit and move into one of your unit's standbys.
Right.
I think. Go to the rules forum.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be. I'm
like 85% sure on that one that you can't. But go to the rules forum.
I agree.
End phase is basically the same, except now you score VPs on every turn after or turn 2 and later. And if at any point somebody hits 12 and somebody else didn't hit 12, they win the game. So that's kind of big.
Suppression comes off before scoring, correct?
Yes, that is another big change. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't be like, oh, I'm panicked, but I'm gonna remove the suppression. No, I count. It doesn't count.
So the reason for that is because before there was no score VPs phase of the end phase, right? Mm-hmm. It was just all the cards said to do it at the end phase. But now it explicitly has score VPs as the second thing in the end phase and remove tokens as the fourth thing.
Mm-hmm. I love this change. I love
Krennic stocks went up.
Oh yeah.
Well, even the victory points, like if you get to 12 victory points, it finishes the game. You don't have to suffer anymore. It's just like, okay, clearly I'm gonna get there. Let's just call this game. No more key position games.
Imagine Annihilation looming somebody on that final scoring spot.
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit. You don't score, you don't score, you don't score, you don't score, you don't score.
Yeah, and then the last thing in the phase is you remove your pass tokens and any other tokens as you would have before. Technically, you're using advantage tokens, aka old condition tokens, to make your pass pool. I'm going to be honest, when Daniel and I played, we just kept track of it. Maybe in tournaments, you actually have to use condition tokens for it. Who knows? Just don't cheat, forehead. But yeah, you still promote as before. Let's see. Advanced ground counter is the same. And so that's basically the rules of the game and how they have changed. So this is kind of so before we talk about keywords and stuff, now that we've gone over everything in minutia, let's get some takes. How does everyone feel about this?
I like a lot of the changes. There are some changes I'm just like, but the rest of them I'm just like, it's a feel good because there's not a whole lot of gotchas anymore. I can't move standby anymore with Maul, which is really good for my opponent, right? And deflect is always on. I know we didn't talk about because we get into keywords.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of changes that I like, and I'm on board for it.
How big is the check AMG gave you?
Big. Real big.
Yeah, because you're feeling hard right now, bro.
My biggest
Jose's a hater
right now.
My biggest,
but he's also played the game too. Yeah, the cover is a little funky.
Yeah, the cover.
I don't like the problem with it is it's too hard to. Well, I guess if it's too hard to qualify, that's probably why it's swingy. Then I guess. Yeah, the cover's a little funky. And then the transports are a little weird too. I'm not a big fan of the transports how they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, on average, they basically on their stream they explained on average like this is actually better for most shots to get through, right? Like on average, most shots I think they said it was 6 or below are going to get more hits through after cover, right? But it's swingier, and that can be problematic, right? And so that's basically the only thing I'm not happy with is that. And it's something that I'll live with. It's just it takes too long. It's swingier. Um, I'm not saying I loved the old cover system either, but like I kind of think if they just kept the old 1 block, 2 blocks, and then added the range 1/2 thing, we would have been fine.
I feel like the reason why they did it though is because the big squads that you could take now, like imagine throwing big squad dice pools.
That's
And then,
true.
I feel like that's the only reason why they did it.
It would just overwhelm it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the big squads too. I think they're great.
I agree with Nick.
It's not even here.
You should have no you haven't been here the last 2. I agree with Nick now 100% because we're playing Legion MCP. It should just be 2D terrain for cover rules. I hate all the different like ways you can wonk around cover. And then secondly, like this, I haven't played a game, so this is just a fiery hot take. This is a 2.0 and everything I'm hearing. I'm not a fan.
Honestly, I think they kind of fixed cover in the sense that you have to be half range to benefit from it. Like I remember, John
it's pretty much flat.
Yeah, John was shooting at me with the Home Commandos, but I was so far away from the barricade that was scaring me. I didn't get the cover. I thought that was great.
Yeah. No, I think most of the getting cover phase, it's actually kind of more annoying now because it takes longer. Because now you have to do all the stuff you used to have to do, and then check if you're in range 1/2. It's like they're just adding more stuff to do there, and then you have to roll dice. And it's like all these little things are adding up to be probably a longer game than before, but who knows?
It seems like they're banking. It seems like they're banking on the scoring system making the game short, not exactly the game being short. Just you're gonna get this 12 points hella fast. Like sounds like that.
No, so I agree and I disagree. It is the scoring system, and not because you're actually hitting 12 points, but because you're being incentivized to go kill each other. Like, how is the game going to be faster? Yeah. Well, because there's just less activations quicker. There's not 14
because in my game against John, I had the take a bomb to the enemy base secondary objective, and then the bunker mission. And I was able to get the enemy bomb to his base and blew it up in round 2. Got 4 points on top of 2 more points. I was already at 6 points.
Yeah, see what I mean?
My game with Daniel that went to round 5, we both scored 4 points.
Oh, what did you guys play?
Just the one where it's like the intercept. It's like the one where it's the 4. So there's the 2 in your deployment, the 2 on the side. I thought you could score your own objective on that one. So I was just going to use it as like a hunker down mission. And then Daniel's like, "Oh, you can't score your own." I'm like, "Oh, I would not have put this in my deck if I had known my objective was to run to yours." Like, this is the exact opposite of what I want. Like, I was playing Empire Gunline. I was like, I want to sit back here and shoot all game. Like,
and that's kind of what I want to reserve my opinions about the missions. Is like until I play them all. It's exactly. Like because in my game I was scoring a lot of victory points. I was just like, I think I'm just gonna win by turn 3. Like, but yeah,
it incentivizes both players to engage because it's like, you can hang back and you can just let them keep scoring. That's up to you, but just know you can lose in 2 turns.
And I love that
if you don't do anything,
and you're not going to table them.
Yeah, like, I love that this forces you to engage because I hated games where I'm just gonna snipe until you come closer. I'm just like, okay, that's boring.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wipe out a unit real quick, and then now you have to try to wipe one of mine or win the objective.
Or
so it's interesting. I'm excited to play.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm a bit mixed on it. I like the old game, but it definitely had its problems. I would have probably done some smaller changes at first, but I understand their desire to kind of shake things up. There's also like to me personally, a lot of the changes, and I know this is like a moot point. It's like, oh, they're trying to sell you something, but like it's like to me, it's like they made some of these changes just explicitly to make it so you have to buy more minis, right? Like our cost of armies has gone up. Well, significantly in some cases, right?
They just inherited a lot of debt. They got to make it up somewhere.
Well, yeah, and I get that. It's like I know they're trying to make money because they're a company. Like I understand that inherently, but it's still like it feels like okay, they increased the size of armies. They did all this. They did all that. I'm like, as a new player, it's like you have to do have so much more stuff now.
Right. But they do still have skirmish rules, even though they've changed those up as well. Their reasoning was we want it to be Legion as in the sense of you have way more minis. And I think they're just trying to spread it further apart from Shatterpoint.
which is
Shatterpoint
fine.
is less minis, Legion is more minis. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see
I
how
love the
that ends
double
up going.
squads.
Yeah.
So
What I love is
It's a
that
cool idea.
range 2 and melee stock just went up because you're so close to each other. Like
yeah.
Wookiees are gonna be
Fleets,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, fleet's gonna be good. Like I just love that.
Well, especially with the new cover rules, and then the heroes with the low dice pool
They're a lot stronger
attacks
now.
went up as well. Yeah, dude.
I mean,
Really good.
snipers felt really good. I
Yeah.
used scout snipers just to test it out, and
Mm-hmm.
it was number one. I was rolling very well on them, so that always helps. But number two is like I was rolling well, and then any dice I rolled would go through cover. It's like, all right, roll your
Damn.
2 cover dice. All right, you got none. Or it's like I rolled 2 dice.
How does sharpshooter work with the cover now?
So you still go from heavy to light, but now heavy to light is you roll on a surge to you roll on and a block. Only roll on a block.
You go from 5 up to just 6 up. Yeah.
Correct.
Can you pierce the cover rolls or do you?
No, you can only pierce defense rolls. So they
Dang.
could, in theory,
Wow.
could in theory block both in cover phase.
Wow.
So, or like or use your shield still, which is what Daniel did. So.
Yeah, man. I guess just roll crits is the answer. I guess
Always the answer.
Always. Yeah.
We just see defensive crits that count as double.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, where's my defensive crits at?
I was joking. Please no. That's the last thing we need.
Well, the surges are basically defensive crits.
Not really.
Yeah, just because they don't deflect rolls.
True. But yeah. So do we want to go over some of these keyword changes, or we want to do that another time? What are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling?
We can go for a little bit more if you guys want to.
Let's do it. Let's jam. All right. Keywords, a lot of keywords changed in slight ways. And so I'm going to try to like put all these together. Let's start with the clone trooper keyword. We've already mentioned this. Instead of range 1 is now range 2. And
that's
basically
crazy.
all of the token keywords that share tokens in some way, shape, or form are now range 2, which most of them already were. But that includes exemplar. No, they were all range 1. Never mind.
Yeah.
Like spotter, quick thinking,
Mm-hmm.
duck and cover. What's the name of that one?
Not the only thing that extended range was exemplar.
No. Yeah. What's
tokens?
The dodge one called?
Take cover.
Take cover. Yeah. So all those are now range 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first major change.
Yeah. Which is good. I like that.
Hate it.
I love that change.
No,
I think it's gonna feel really good with.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna feel really good with clones.
No, it's
you're gonna
not.
be so bunched up. Hold on, because you're gonna be so bunched up with these objectives. So everybody getting all these tokens, being able to share them, like I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be really cool to be like we're taking this position because you're able to take so much more minis too. I don't know. I think it's gonna look really cool. It's gonna feel
that's exactly
as the clone player.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said in the stream. Is that they made it range 2 is because now that the objective's so spread apart and you're splitting your army, they wanted you to still be able to feel like you can spend tokens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm just going to kind of go through. I'm going to go through the list. I'm on page 39, going through keywords that are blue. And put creature troopers instead of having whatever disengage now they can just attack and withdraw during the same activation. So just basically, they're really good at withdrawing now.
They always were. You can always do that.
Yeah, they always were.
They just worded it differently, is what I'm saying. Yeah, because before they had the disengage keyword, right?
No. They could
just leave.
Withdraw.
Before what they can do is they withdraw like normal, but they can do their free actions with their withdrawal. So like
correct. That's what it was.
Charge stuff like that.
But now they just explicitly get that second action as well. Whereas because before they would still only get one action. So now you can withdraw, relentless, and attack.
Yeah, and move, So Tauntauns that could take an aim, then withdraw, then attack.
Correct.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah. And placement troopers can pivot while engaged. I don't think that matters that much. Maybe somebody will correct me. I think it has to do with being able to pivot on your way withdrawing, but who knows? The next major change, this is huge. Resiliency. Completely changed. No more dice. All those dice they gave us in Bakersfield, useless. Now, basically, every single time you get broken, it's the suppression version. where you roll one dice. Did you know that, JR?
Yeah.
Oh, I did
Every
not know
single
that.
time, it's that suppression version. So it
Well, that
basically
sucks.
you roll a
It's
white
okay.
dice,
I like
and
that.
on a blank you only get one action.
I
Well,
just
no,
hated having to constantly reference like what does this even mean?
I
Like,
That's
just
probably
totally
why
agree. This is
my
such a
my
good
card from
change.
LVO is
My
useless. I
cool
have to
little
burn it.
dice is useless
Yeah,
now.
your Bakersfield dice is
I have my
useless.
printout card.
Go
Yeah.
return it to Grayson and say, I can't believe you gave us a
I
broken
want free
promo.
entry into
How
this tournament.
dare you? How
How
dare
dare
you?
you?
These changes killed half of the price support we've received in the last like 2 years.
But yeah, so that's just straight up gone. I'm
That's
glad.
what it should be. The Legion lad. He's smashing the red dice on the freaking the Brazilians die.
No, it's funny too because I almost bought a set of these for everyone for the league, but then I'm like,
I
enough of
know,
us
dude.
got
I
them
was
in
looking at him
Bakersfield.
too.
I'm like, enough of us got them.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it was useless anyways now. Vehicles can't gain cover now. That's big.
That's crazy.
That's good.
Both repulsor vehicles and ground vehicles. So your
Just vehicles in general.
Well, so ground vehicles and repulsor vehicles both have it in their own distinct rules sections, but yeah, vehicles in general.
Well, I mean, speeders mostly have cover one, right?
Right, but they
Yeah.
can't get heavy cover anymore.
Yep.
Yep.
Which is big.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's see what's next. Why is it going through all this again? All right, here we go. AI. This is a spicy change.
Yeah, I like this change.
Yeah, Mr. Droid, why don't you tell us what the AI changes? And if you're wrong, I'm going to call you a cheater again.
So with AI, as long as have a face-up order token, AI doesn't proc. And if you don't have a face-up order token and you're in range 3 of your commander, AI doesn't proc either.
That's so stupid.
So
So stupid. So, Jared, my whole years of ranting about how AI was useless, dumb, should not even a thing. It's really not a thing now.
I mean, it
just
is.
kill the commander, forehead.
Yeah, well, it is because now that the objectives are a little bit split up, they kind of incentivize you to split up your army. If you're running one commander, that means half of your army doesn't have a commander nearby at range 3, which that's why Override kind of went to range 5. But because in my game against John, I set B1's one way with Dooku, and then my Droidekas another way, and I was like, oh shoot, Droidekas are proccing on AI right now. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good keyword to pair it with is he just mentioned that override, instead of being override 1 and override 2 to be the range, override is just your AI doesn't proc at range 5 of this command, which allows you to just kind of not ever have it come up, which is really good if you have that keyword. Aid is now range 2, as we mentioned before. Let's see what else. What other keywords? There's a lot of keywords changed here.
Fire support. I hate it.
Oh, bounty. This is another. I'm just going in order. So bounty, you don't need to survive. You just get the VP. Kill the target, get a VP.
Oh, really? You don't have to survive to the end of the game?
That makes sense because you're gonna dive through 20 fucking B1s, 3 squads. You're not surviving that. Once you clean up Dooku, you're dead.
Yeah, but if you can get
way out of it.
But it also makes this incentive of like, all right, well, I know I'm gonna lose, say, Din, but I'm gonna just throw him at Vader with 1 wound left, get my bounty VP, and call it good. You know,
and then lose Yoda, lose Grogu, and then
we'll talk about that in a second. But
Nick.
Grogu's changed. Grogu's better now. The next thing is complete the mission once again. They basically put it back to the old version because the old version was like, oh, when do you do this? Oh, early. So complete the mission is now during setup, and and for each unit with complete the mission, you place a priority mission token on the battlefield within contested territory, which is the territory that is not your deployment or the other player's deployment. This is really big because those are all going out before anybody deploys now. No more like, I'm going to deploy my commandos last so that I know where all your army is going so I can place my tokens in perfect positions. Now you have to be more strategic about it. Maybe you have to spread them out more, and you just don't know if that's where they're going to be in a place that matters. In my game with Daniel, he had 3 commandos. Only one of those tokens ended up mattering because, he was like, well, I got to kind of keep them spread out. So he had 1 by 1 POI, 1 by the other POI. He had like a defensive one on top of a roof that he didn't end up using because he had to be more aggressive. And so it's like, now you just have to use them more proactively and just kind of give up what you're doing now. Because now you're like, I'm assuming they're going to do this, and maybe they don't. So you're just not guaranteed to get that anymore, which is kind of big.
That's good.
Yeah. Covert ops, still basically the same thing, but now infiltrate has changed to be a lot better, in my opinion. But yeah. Let's see. All right, should we talk about deflect? We're in D now.
Deflect is so much better now. Such a good change for deflect. I love it.
Talk about it.
Yeah, because so what deflect is always on. You don't need a dodge to proc it. If you're getting shot at a range attack, you can deflect the shots back. You get surge defend all the time from a range
But it's
attack.
only one wound.
Yep, you're only allowed to do a maximum of 1 wound back. So if you roll 5 surges, I'm only taking 1 wound back.
So anybody with deflect has surge to defend now.
Correct. In range.
Range attack.
In range.
Yeah.
Which means that into the fray is basically only for when you're in melee.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely makes deflect. We're in a weird spot where it's like it's deflect is now more distinct from block, right? Block is much. It's always been better in melee, not always, but in the last rules, it still is because it still gives you that surge of block in melee.
Well, you still need to spin a dodge. Yeah, you still need to spin
exactly. Whereas deflect is like always on, but not in melee.
And what's important to know is since Obi-Wan has Guardian, he gets deflect and Guardian.
Yeah. It's also really good.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But that's I think this is what Vader's a Fear and Dead Man. Like it's so much crappier now. All it does is pretty much deflect. But you don't get the block, I think. Or what was it exactly?
It deflects on wounds.
So we'll talk about the Vader card chain Vader later, but it basically is the enemy takes a wound when Vader takes a wound, but he still gets deflect damage now.
Yeah.
So
he still could deflect. So like hypothetically, you can roll a surge. They'll take that wound from the surge, and if Vader takes any wounds, they also lose those ones too.
It's just different.
But you're just not getting the tons of dodges like you were before.
That's what's nerfed. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next massive change, and this is probably like army building wise, the biggest change in all these keywords we're talking about is detachment. So number one, you don't have to deploy within range 1 of whatever unit you're detached from. And number 2 is all of your.
Sorry for interrupting. Before we go move on to detachment, now when someone's shooting you with the high velocity, you don't get to deflect anymore.
I thought that was always the case.
No.
Yes, it was because you couldn't spin.
Because you couldn't spin a dodge. But
it's
important to note because you can't deflect the high velocity shot
anymore. Unless you're Obi. I thought Obi could.
Nope, Obi can't anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
but he used to.
He used to, but not anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So detachment, you don't have to deploy next to them, and also what it does now is your unit does not count towards maximums of that rank. They still count towards minimums, but not maximums. So now you can have 6 shore troopers and 6 mortars. 6 rebel vets.
Wow.
Shit.
6 rebel vets, 6 MK2s.
Wild, yeah.
It is wild.
Okay, because I have 3 units of shore troopers, and I was like, I'll never need to buy any more than that.
Not enough.
All that back stock at
buy
Legends
3 more.
is about to go through the roof, bro.
You should have seen it on Saturday. I walked up, and the first thing I did is I walked in and I grabbed Krennic off the wall, and I'm like, I'm gonna need this because he's literally the best commander in Empire by a mile now. Like, and he had like all this dust on him. I'm like, oh, bro, we need to buy some Krennics now.
It was super dusty.
That was the box that was behind the one Edward bought.
Well, it's because like, frankly, there was no reason to run Krennic. Like, he was only if you liked Krennic,
unless you were Edward.
Yeah, no, if you liked Krennic or but gameplay wise, he just didn't do much. So
yeah, he didn't do anything. Yeah,
and now he's like, okay, for 10 points, I get command over an officer. I get 10. I get a command cards. I get compel. I get compel and compel. Like, he's just so good. But anyways,
Annihilation looms is wild now.
Anyways, divine influence is fixed to be at instead of within. Of course, they fucked up. We knew it. Let's see. Gemso is super weird now. Basically, it's kind of like a mini version of the Vader's Fear and Dead Men card. Instead of doing the old thing it did. Now it's
In
if
melee.
in melee. So does he have deflect now?
Yeah.
Yes, he has both.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's both. Okay. If he takes a wound, the opponent also takes a wound now, which I really love.
No,
Like,
I hate
that was the old rule.
that's the new one.
No, so the new one is that if your opponent attacks Anakin and they roll a blank
Yeah.
in their attack roll, they take a wound.
Oh, sorry. If the attack roll complains a block. Yeah, sorry.
Well, the old one wasn't even like that. The old one was just I give you a wound for spending a dodge. It didn't
correct.
it
Yeah.
didn't take anything.
So now, it's I think this is huge because like Maul rolls white attack dice.
Yep.
You're guaranteed to wound Maul that way.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And then give him an extra thing to do. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Entourage has changed so that you can give backup with the unit that you're entouraging. So Death Troopers have backup for Krennic. Not a huge change. I don't think it really mattered, but it's cool. IRG could because of Guardian already. No. So Exemplar range 2 and only 1 token now, just like all the other ones.
Stupid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So all of these
stupid.
They gave Exemplar to a lot of commanders, and basically they took Exemplar from Republic and gave it to everybody else.
Stupid.
Down with the clones, baby.
And so now Exemplar is it's still strong. It's still really good. But it's not like, I share 5 tokens in this one attack. But yeah. Let's see what else has changed. Fire supports.
I hate this one.
Talk about it, Jose. Why do you hate it?
So fucking stupid.
Well, what's wrong with fire support, Jose? Talk about it.
So basically, you just staple fucking what is it? That stupid fucking Overwatch card to your units now.
Well, because why would you do that?
Because fire support no longer is buckets of dice. Now, when a unit of fire support gets an order, they just get in a standby.
Well, there is still a surefire way to get a bucket of dice attack, Jose. Bring ATRTs against JR because he will be running those B1s,
dude.
Or you can double the minis.
So
yeah, double the minis, Jose.
No, that's already too fucking expensive.
It's
fun. So they lose. So their exemplar gets clipped. Their fire support gets fucking demolished. Anakin, I can't make a decision.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. I know you ain't complaining about these changes because clones got so many good things going for them with these changes. Like just the clone infantry alone, and we haven't got to it. We'll get to it probably in another episode. But like they got a huge buffs that I think balances out the stuff that they lost.
Oh yeah.
As a clone player here, disagree.
As a mid-input player, I agree.
Nice.
You've hated clones since their inception, so your take doesn't surprise me.
Next major change is hunted no longer a complete liability. Now you all hunted does is it gives a bounty token to Din if there's an enemy with the keyword bounty. So it's like doesn't really matter that much, right? Like if there's an enemy bounty hunter, they're probably going to give Din a token anyways. And if you're only running like 2 commanders or operatives, like there's not even an extra bounty token coming out at all. So I think it's a huge buff to Grogu. Grogu's good now, really OP. Everyone's going to take him except Nick because now he's OP.
He's meta now. He's meta.
Grogu is meta. I will say it here first.
Nick's going to start going 4-0 now that extra point don't cost him.
I mean, my first game of this new version was against somebody with Grogu. So
wait, they gain a token?
So basically, Din gains a bounty token.
Yeah.
But the only way to proc a bounty at all, or to get that bounty token, is if the enemy team has a bounty or has somebody with the bounty keyword.
Right.
And so basically, if you're not playing against a lot of bounty hunters, there's just literally no downside to taking Grogu. And if you're facing bounty hunters,
I got what you're saying, yeah.
Right, all it means is all right. Well, Din just can't die to a bounty hunter. So
right.
But yeah. Omega's super buffed. Oh yeah, go.
No, I was gonna say with Grogu, the idea is it's like in the show when there's no bounty hunters around, he's just putzing around doing what Mando and Grogu do. when there's a bounty hunter around, he just has to not die and he's succeeded in his mission. He's like, just don't take the baby, just don't take the green football, and we're good.
Yeah.
Did you go over the change to the Guardian?
Oh, yeah, the biggest change for Guardian is that if they're suppressed, they cannot use Guardian, which is pretty big, probably.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean,
no
the
matter
unit
range
it's
one
not that
or
bad.
courage
it's
one.
not, I don't think it like if you're using a unit for Guardian purposes, it shouldn't be getting shot at anyways.
Yeah.
I was playing IRG with Palpatine though, so like every time they wanted to activate, it's like, or every time every round they got an order, and they have the discipline keyword, so it's like they were just shredding suppression anyways. So
And they got courage value too.
yeah. So like maybe Magna's it's way better, way worse. Boil squads are worse now. Oh, no, they're courage too, so they're fine.
Well, Magna's they never suppress, so this never will proc.
Oh, never mind
Oh
then.
yeah.
So what Guardian unit does this actually matter for then?
I mean, a Steam Leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're running a Steam Leader.
Oh, that's definitely a huge nerf to a Steam Leader then, huh?
Yeah, Obi-Wan.
Mhm.
I mean, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Boyle would have mattered if they would have kept the phases, because you can boil,
Right.
you put Boyle in a phase 1 and then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's just the one for the commanders, for the grunts to take the
Chewbacca, I think,
wounds.
has Guardian, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
of
but
the
he
Chewbaccas?
also has Enrage, so
Oh yeah.
so we're like, this may matter, but probably not that often.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's not gonna matter until it does.
So next big thing, and I know we're just going down the list of changes, but you know that's kind of what I figured we should do for everyone that's learning. But the next big change is Omega never actually got to do her old thing because she officially released the same day as the new rules. So now what Omega does is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
She can test POI, or the Bad Batch can test POIs at range 1, not range 1/2. Massive,
Whoa.
massive range buff. So, I'm just gonna start skipping through a lot of these. Inspires at the end of your activation now, not at the beginning.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
wild.
good. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Oh, he doesn't know that one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So no, because I had so many games where it's like Inspire's literally useless because my army's moving up, and so's like,
Yeah, Veers or whoever it is in the back, and it's like, oh, cool. It doesn't matter. Like they're too far away.
Yeah. Now
that's
it's
really good.
Really good.
Did you go over Incognito?
No, I skipped that one. Does that one matter? What changed in Incognito that
I
really
mean,
matters?
the change is that. Oh, I guess you're right. There's the change.
The big change in Incognito is you can shed it yourself.
Yeah, that's what
that-
the change is. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't before, and now you can.
Mhm.
But there's only what? It's only K2 with Incognito?
No, there's a bunch of people. There's the Sith Pro droids. Then there's
Okay.
the Ewoks that can technically get it, right?
Okay, yeah.
The
Which one does
Chewbacca
R2
ATST?
have? I haven't used R2 in years.
But yeah, and so the good thing to do with that is like those Sith probe droids, it's like, all right, well, they're not contesting this objective in the back. I'm just gonna throw those guys back there and take off their Incognito.
Take off their cloak like Maul.
We talked about Infiltrate, we talked about Inspire. Loadout basically didn't change. Low profile we talked about. Master Storyteller is now range 2, but so are all the other sharing token. Basically, if it's a token sharing keyword,
It's range 2.
now.
Yeah.
They changed how they're gonna show when somebody's in a mercenary. We talked prepared positions. Oh, reinforcements. I think they like gutted this. At the start of the end phase of the first round of a game, a unit with the reinforcements keyword may perform a speed 1 move. It's bad. Like it's just straight up bad
No,
because it's at the end of round 1.
but it's what are you reinforcing? Because that's when the unit comes in deploys.
So-
last.
So okay, let's talk about which units have reinforcements right now.
Yeah, that's
Massage, swoops.
That's not to
Kalani's
have
co-
reinforcement.
I thought she had a
Kalani's-
card that
Yeah, bounty.
Kalani's-
You're right. For bounty. Yeah.
yeah.
Kalani with her card, her reinforcement card.
Yes, the 3
Or
pip.
she has
Well,
it.
all the super attacks have that 3 pip,
Yeah. I think that's solid.
But Kalani has
Yeah.
reinforcement natively.
but it's just like to me, it's like compared to what it used to
Okay,
do.
yeah.
All right,
yeah.
you know what's funny is this is the first time I've ever heard of this keyword.
What?
Really?
So what it used to
Yeah.
do, Roman, is you got to deploy after everybody else that's deployed.
Your
Yeah.
2 units.
The only thing that went
What?
after the only the only thing that went after you was if there was a darkness descends
Vader
Vader.
Darkness Descends.
Yeah. So it was really, really
I've
strong.
never
Maybe-
heard of this rule.
Maybe it's good for swoop bikes, because swoop bikes have reinforcement.
Yeah, I guess they want
I've
them.
never,
But like,
yeah.
so like when you played against EXD, like there was a version of EXD with the bus that would use that rapid reinforced card, so that it would be like, all right, you deploy the rest of your army, and my 3B, my was like my 2BXs and my Kalani and my bus, or not bus, but my snail, they're gonna go after you. So it's like you would literally do 5 deployments after the enemy, which was just really strong.
Good
That's
information.
crazy.
But now it's like you get a speed 1 move at the end of round 1. It's like, okay, this is worthless. Like,
if you're bringing like double AAT, that could be strong.
I mean, I'm
Well-
sure there are moments it could be useful, but like it's way less than before.
Does it happen before or after you score victory points?
It says at the start of the end phase, so it would be before, but it's after round 1. There's not really much.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
never
don't even
mind.
see what you want on reinforcement in CIS to give them an
Yeah.
extra speed move.
Get your AAT closer.
Like the only thing that I can think of is like what you just said. Like if you're not shooting, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's
weird. Yeah,
it's not a move action, so you can't proc relentless. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
It's gonna catch somebody off guard. You watch.
I'm
It's
sure.
gonna
I'm sure.
fucking-
Maybe it's good. Who knows? We're
Somebody's
almost to
gonna
the
find
end.
the one broken thing.
Yeah, we're almost to the end here, and then we can do more hot takes. But scouting party, we kind of talked about this, but we didn't fully. Now you choose the beginning of the game which units are getting scouting party. So Anakin,
Whoa.
perhaps Smith Rex. So like Rex is in your squad. All right, Anakin, you get scout, and you do it before he deploys or anything, right? Though he can't prepare positions and scout, I don't think, but still really solid.
That is pretty good.
Especially for Ewoks, right? Like that'll be really good with Wicket.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna play a bunch of Ewoks now. Double the squad.
Oh no.
Flamethrowers.
Flamethrowers. Every
everywhere.
time you show up agaagainst JR, flamethrowers.
I'm gonna bring 2 army lists and be like, "What are you playing today?" Oh, I'm playing Ewoks. Cool. I'm pulling out these flame ATRs. Was gonna play Empire, not today.
Jose, why do you always have 2 backpacks on, even though you're on a bike? But yeah, Soresu changed a little bit. Do you want to talk about? Do you know what the change is, Jose?
Yeah.
No, I haven't paid attention to this.
So the change of Soresu is, instead of doing what it used to do, now it's when Obi-Wan is. So first off, Obi-Wan has deflect, right? Mm-hmm. So he has all the surge defend stuff, including in Guardian. But now if you use Soresu, or when you're guarding with Obi, due to Soresu mastery, you can re-roll your defense dice. So roll 3 dice, blink all 3. I'm gonna re-roll.
That's sick.
Yeah,
that's actually really good.
But
that's really good.
But like
Holy
let's say you get a hit and a surge or 2 hits, right? And you're like, oh, I have 1 blank here. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna re-roll, keep it, re-roll? There's a little bit of thinking there, right? So
I'm re-rolling the whole time, every time.
Jose rolls 3 blocks. No, I'm re-rolling.
I'm re-rolling. I want these to be surge blocks.
Now, granted that this is before you would do deflect.
You have to re-roll the whole bolt.
Not just
all
one.
3.
The whole boat.
Yeah, the whole boat.
I'm a gambler, man. I'm picking up all 3.
Jose got 2 blocks. I can make that one into a block.
I have 3 blocks.
blocks.
I'm gonna re-roll because I want to show you 3 surges.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's see. Speeder changed a little bit. Basically it's the same as before, except if it has an asset token, it can only move once outside of its compulsory instead of just speed. Who knows if that'll be a big change. Tempted is really, really good. This is basically the last keyword that actually we're going to talk about today. I guess we're not regs for a second. But Tempted is, you want to talk about it? Jose, you seem to know about it if you think it's cool.
Yeah, so basically, if a unit attempted, which right now I think it's just Anakin. If a unit dies in range 2,
friendly unit to be clear,
a friendly unit dies in range, I think it's
3.
range 2. 3? Oh shit,
3.
Okay. Better than I thought.
Oh my
god!
god!
Check it. So Vader runs up, murders my clone boys, and you're in sniffing distance of Anakin. Now I get to make a speed 2 move for free or I get to make another attack.
Ignoring difficult terrain too.
Yep.
That's
And
crazy.
and does
dude.
that that
So
would
so
proc his
Anakin's just
relentless too.
Hulk jumping.
Yeah.
Anakin's just Hulk jumping towards whatever.
And he and he still gets to equip his dark side keywords if he wants, his dark side force powers.
That's
No.
crazy.
Yes.
Dude.
Yep.
You know, he don't
Yeah.
get no,
He doesn't get dark side force
he doesn't
powers
get dark side
anymore.
force powers no more.
That's completely gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
It's just, yeah.
Because that was in the
honestly,
tempted keyword and isn't there anymore.
Yeah, tempted keyword. This new version of tempted keyword is so much
way better.
Yeah, so better.
Like, no, I still want to take my force choke that I don't take anyways. Okay.
Too
bad. But yeah, last keyword change. We're not regs. Bad Batch cannot benefit from backup, which is actually kind of a big nerf. So I don't know. We'll have to see how Bad Batch fits in on all of this. So, but yeah. So,
well, what Ion?
Oh, dude, we have so many more keywords. God, there's so
did
many.
They tell me they made him stack now, please?
No, they did the opposite.
Fucking stupid.
So Ion, first off, they made most of the Ion weapons not exhaust anymore. But now you roll a dice to see if you are affected by Ion or not.
Yeah.
So you no longer have to wound. You just have to, right? Because old Ion was you had a wound. So new Ion
had to wound.
Now new Ion is the opponent has to roll a dice.
Yeah, if they defend against the attack, yeah. So it's definitely a buff.
No,
right?
They have to suffer a wound.
What?
That's stupid.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So that's them. It's worse.
Straight nerf. Yeah.
So they made it worse.
It was already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a fair change because now it doesn't tap anymore.
No.
Still
a bad. It's even
no, because you still got to roll the dice to hit. You still got to roll the dice to hit.
Hope it.
Then you still got to roll. Go through cover. Go through their defense dice, and then hope that it works. You're going through almost 4 if they're not guarding or any other bullshit.
It's the whole.
It's fucking crazy.
It's the whole Pokemon confusion. Like, I confuse you. And you're just like, let's see if he's confused. Oh, no, he hits you. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, because it's a 66% chance
Pikachu hit himself.
That they lose in action. Yeah. It's just straight up worse.
They just need to make it like suppressive. But
yes.
for Ion, just be like, if it's in the pool, you get an Ion token and that's it. Like, even if you don't wound, even if you don't hit or whatever, just throw it on there.
But they don't
know
want
why they're so adamant.
They don't want players suffering negative effects, dude. They want the game to be.
Hey, man, it's a pretty negative effect when I take a wound. Like, okay, that's part of the game. Like,
So that's it for all the keywords and all the changes of the game. Next week we'll talk units. Oh, there's actually one more thing that isn't technically a change, but every single armor unit now has armor X. Massive nerf across the board. Like,
who got hit the hardest though? Who's the shittiest unit now? Dark Troopers. They got
100%.
Yeah.
What's their armor? Is armor 5 or no?
3.
Like 3.
They are so easy to kill now, and they still cost 200 points. They're garbage. Like, they already were like, dude. They're already on the borderline of competitive. Like, and this is coming from the guy that brought them to Worlds, right? Like, they were in the I hope you don't show up with impacts because then I'd lose. Now I lose.
I hope you don't show up with dice that hit.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope you don't hit. Well, because they can't get cover, right?
No cover. And only armor 3. Like, they just die so easily now.
They just suck. Yeah.
They suck. Like,
real quick.
Just in time for Edward to play him. Like,
I know. I feel so bad for Edward. Hey, but Krennic's
he's still gonna
he's
play.
Probably happy about that.
He's still gonna play.
Will. Yeah. So another change I wanted to talk about. I don't know if we're gonna bring it up in another episode or not.
Yeah.
But this is one I wanted to get all of your opinion on. Is force push to 40 points. What do you guys think?
Oh, you know what's
love it.
Okay, hear me out. I ran
Asajj
and Dooku in my game against John, and I missed it. And I really am debating about paying for it. I still think you pay for it.
I think you do too.
Yeah.
But I think in a double Jedi list, you probably only pay for it once. Because if you only pay for it once, you're not really paying for it. Right? Because all the Jedi drop 20 points.
That's true.
So,
But
like,
it's also getting an extra
points. It's for most Jedi, it's technically only a 10-point increase. Right? Because they've lowered the price across the board. For Maul's the same cost. So, because Maul just got a 30-point debuff or removal for some reason.
We know who Jared's taking LVO. I've always wanted Force Push to get points increase. Like even with me using it, I was like, this shit's stupid for
It's just
for
40
10 points.
so crazy,
for,
dude.
40
for,
points.
for 10 for the old cost of 10 points. I can
But you're right, though. It's pretty much a 20-point increase, isn't
no,
the
yeah,
worst.
but I'm saying before all that, like for a 10
10
point
point
upgrade,
increase.
I could literally in
Yeah,
old
yeah, my bad.
Legion, I could win a game just by 10 points. I win the game. Like I hated that. I hated that, you know, you could do all the things shenanigans you did with it just for 10 points. And so I was always like, and I got the messages to prove it, Force Push, you know, nerf Force Push, all this stuff. And I always thought it needed to be increased. But to be honest, like I also am in the thought of it's just so good. They could make it any point amount they want, and their people are especially even and not only the decrease. So yeah, we got our decrease for the units that take it, cool, but they've also gave you 200 extra points. Like they're really not doing nothing to change that. So
not just that is
taking
I think the reason, and I think the reason you take it too is
bubble wrap
before no. So the way it maths out is before at the end of the game you keep them from having one extra victory point if you can push a unit off, right? So you win.
Yeah.
You can do that now round
Every
2,
turn.
3, 4, and 5. So you can keep them potentially from getting 4 victory points, which is crazy. So again, like the increase, it's rough, it's a lot, but yeah, I think you still take it. Like Rob said, at least on one guy. You have one guy that's your objective dude, and then one guy that's your
you guys are
freaking
nuts.
glow stick
I'm
blender.
Take it on both.
I take it on Inquisitor and Darth Vader. I'm bringing 3 Force Pushes. Baby.
Rob and I were nah.
You got the
I mean,
points, bro. You got the points now. You got
so here's
points.
Here's the other thing too is like on one of the a lot of the objectives are like contest a point, which means you have to just have somebody there, and like if they're just contesting with one unit, you just keep force pushing them out every turn. Like
especially with the game how close everything is now.
Yeah,
fighting is huge, and honestly, ironically, not ironically, CIS can do it better because everything's so cheap. Like you can afford it in CIS.
Yeah, I think everybody takes it basically still, unless you're a unit that didn't take it before. There are.
I even think you take it now with Palpatine.
No,
I mean, everything's close. You can technically.
Palpatine still just wants to be hiding behind an LOS, not interacting with anybody all game until he murders everyone. But that's a whole nother thing, right? Like anyone else, I think you do. I don't think you take it. I don't think you take it on Inquisitors. I think you use them as anti-force push. Man. Like they need to be cheap. Like I think you put it on your powerhouse units and not necessarily all of your units.
Yeah, if you're gonna run Vader with the Inquisitors, you do put it on Vader, and the Inquisitors, just like you said, they keep other people from using it. Because they don't have Master of the Force. Not having Master of the Force.
I was just gonna say that. Deal. Like to me, Master of the Force, probably take it. No Master of the Force, really think about it. Like Ahsoka, I don't know, man.
I still think you do.
She's so expensive. With it.
The bubble wrap alone.
Yeah, she's not that good right now. Like she needs force push to bring some kind of value.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I think Anakin, you stable on Anakin. Anakin tempted would just proc. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, well.
I actually think with tempted, Anakin needs it less, right? Because he has the ability to move around more.
Sure, but I mean, it's just I felt so bad when I moved into a squad of clones. I attacked and I only got 2 hits on my gate pull.
And you couldn't leave?
Yeah, and I couldn't leave. I could do nothing. I was just like, unless he withdraws, I got to kill these guys before I could leave.
Well, you could withdraw.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I about that.
Why would I withdraw? These colors don't run.
My mall.
Yeah, so next episode, let's see if we've got anything else to say. We'll go over rules questions real quick. Next episode, we'll go over the changes, the point changes, and the battle cards and what they do and stuff like that. There is one upgrade I did want to talk about because I feel it's ironic. Roman, I feel like AMG was watching our game when I was playing the ISP. There's now an ISP upgrade for 8 points that says when this unit performs an attack action after the action is resolved, each defending unit gains 1 observation token.
So, interesting. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially for take it down.
Yeah. it's gonna be solid.
But yeah, I hope they have you gotten a game in yet, Roman?
Not yet. I was supposed
So
to play Toby, but I just
They both
so
quit before they
we
started.
know what happened. Toby saw you and was like, I don't want to play.
Really?
Well, I was building a battle deck and a list and everything, and I was like, dude, I'm just too tired. I was just exhausted. And I also had to wake up super early the next day for all the trap shooting stuff. So I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm fine not playing a 3-hour new game that's gonna wear me out mentally.
Yeah. But
so
I
do want to play more games. I'm looking forward to the league. Definitely looking not only forward to the league, but also to more exhibition games. I just need to get games with this new system. Because I want to go in and do well at least. Well, I mean, again, I got to try to win so I can play day 2 and 3. We'll see how it goes. If not, I'm fine just hanging in Vegas with the fucking lads.
Well, so everyone's playing day 2 and 3, right? I think it's just like the end of day 3 of the last round.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's day 1 and 2.
Oh, day 1 and 2 for sure. Day 1 and 2 for sure.
It's day 1 and 2.
Yes. After day 1, whoever's the top. So after day 1, the top whomever get put into the other tournament. But then day 3 or day 2 is everyone.
It's the loser bracket. Yeah, the loser.
No, I wouldn't call it the loser bracket, but like
it's just the people. It's just the people who didn't
idiots,
win,
right?
Yeah, it's not. It's just the people who didn't win, the people who lost. So not the winners, but the losers. No, I'm talking about like I wanna go to the.
Hey, you were like what, 6th last year after day 1, so you might be making that
4th.
Yeah,
you're 4th.
He was above there.
Yeah,
you're gonna. Who knows? You might end up in the main tournament next year.
We'll see, though. There's also different objectives, which is fine because I like this better. I like being able to be like, I lost within an hour, hour and a half, or I won within an hour and a half.
You
have more time to run around and stuff. I hope, right?
I think it's gonna take longer, in my opinion, but that's just me.
I don't think it will. No. But I'm excited. Anybody that wants to play, like, get our exhibit. TTS is updated too, so so I'm excited to get more games in to learn all this stuff. All right, Jose, hit us up with those rules questions real quick.
All right, so I'm gonna get rid of the. Oh, we went over this.
Just do the biggest one because
I only got 4, but one of them we already talked about, so I'll just skip that one. So undeployed units, tokens, and suppression. Can an undeployed unit gain tokens and suppression from things like cards that don't mention ranges or LOS, like Annihilation Looms or My Ally is the Force?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Annihilation Looms round 1. That's spicy.
Yeah, so the answer is yes. Because basically, even though you're not deployed, like you're still active.
Yeah, because that was the thing when they were being transported and stuff, right? They still carried most of their tokens with them if they had them.
Yeah. So next one is new POI cover and blocking line of sight. Page 20, point of interest token, it said that when determining cover, we count the token as a round base 2-inch and a half range tall silhouette. So 2-inch round, half-inch up silhouette is what the POIs are. Does that mean that a miniature exactly behind the silhouette is completely obscured and cannot be seen, therefore the silhouette is like a ground vehicle silhouette? Or does that mean that you can draw any line of sight through the silhouette?
No, it does not obscure line of sight.
It doesn't obscure.
Yeah, point of interest tokens do not block LOS.
Then why do they have those rules for them then? I'm just confused.
I don't know.
Yeah, just so they want to silhouette and everything.
Well, no, there are things where it's like you need to have LOS of it. And so, like, if it is on top of a building, then the silhouette does matter.
Oh, okay.
That's my thought.
I was just confused. All right. Can you be on top of the tokens? Like, can you end your movement on them?
I don't think you can overlap them.
You can't overlap them?
I thought you can. No, I think you can. Let me. This is like one of the 3 rules we skipped because I'm like, it doesn't matter that much.
Well, guess what?
I just wonder because they're pretty big. They're pretty big, and then again, like that takes up more of the space when you already close up.
Okay, real quick. Barricades are open terrain now. You can walk through them normally.
Oh, that's
nice.
I was just looking. I was scrolling up and
my environmental gear is useless now.
Okay, so save the 2 points, Jose.
No.
Overlapping.
Hey, there's other difficult terrain though besides barricades.
But I just love that. Like I pull out my range.
I know.
My opponent's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I have environmental gear. You brought that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so overlapping objects. Terrain can be placed on top of other terrain, but can't be placed resting on top of tokens or miniatures. Tokens that are on the battlefield can be placed resting on top of terrain and other tokens, but cannot be on top of miniatures. And then here's the important bit. Miniatures can be placed resting on top of both tokens and terrain, but cannot be placed resting on top of each other. So I think they can, unless there's something in the POI rules that say they can't.
Miniatures can be placed resting on top of both. Oh, tokens and that's good to know.
They couldn't just say yes or no.
So yes, you can stand on top of POIs.
Okay.
All right, so this one is the same thing as the last one, but it blew my. I just thought about that right now, but I'm gonna read it anyways. Given your anger and undeployed units, is there anything to stop you selecting undeployed unit?
No.
To your anger?
That's so good if you could do that.
You couldn't before, so they would have had to change this because you couldn't before.
Why couldn't you?
The whole deployment rules are different before, but like you couldn't do it on a rapid reinforcement.
I want to say you can. Oh, that'd be so good. Please tell me.
I bet you can now, but
nothing can stop you. Seth said, "Nope, give in."
Yeah.
I'm
gonna give you Anakin right now.
That is so good.
That's so good.
Yeah.
All right, and this one.
I mean, okay, the card is much better used later in the game, to be clear, but it's such a good.
I don't know. Anakin prepare position. Nah, go with Anakin right now.
Yeah, and then you don't have your stupid.
Well, okay, if
suppression relief upgrade.
Maybe it is best on round 1 now because like you are deploying and so you get to see where they go. Oh my god, yeah, it is better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
damn you, Seth. So this one's this is the final one. It's on the vehicle side of it. Compulsory move and deploy. So as we know, first action onto the field, second action is whatever you want. Can the compulsory move from SpeederX keyword be considered as the deployment move? So can a compulsory move to deploy?
Yes.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even think about this. Yeah.
I think the answer is yes, because I think I saw this one, but
I don't know.
I think it's yes. What's the answer, Jose?
So when an undeployed unit performs a move,
an unemployed unit.
I'm tired, bro. I think this is our first 3-hour cast in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. We probably should have split this up a bit.
When an undeployed unit performs a move, it deploys.
Yeah.
A free move action granted by a game effect, such as a compulsory move, may indeed be used to deploy. And that's what I thought was crazy because, like, well, a compulsory move is before or after. Like, if you're deploying, like,
so it's still part of your turn. Deploying is still part of your turn, so it makes sense. You can also deploy using No Time for Sorrows or any other card that gives you a free move action.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know that? Yeah.
So, dude, like, again, the rules are everything's so new. So you're just like figuring out. It's like a baby when they're finding out, like, whoa, hold on a sec. I have toes here and I have toes here. Like, you're just discovering a whole new world. Like, whoa,
it's like
a whole new world.
Some rules fall through the crack, and you just like, I totally forgot about that.
AMG should have fucking straight up said this is a 2.0. This is a goddamn 2.0.
This is a 3.0. Let's be real.
This is
a 2.6.
I was gonna say it's more like a 2.5 for sure.
No,
well, because the 2.0,
I definitely agree. It's more of a half.
When they did the big change 2 years ago for us, when they did the actual 2.0, the CRB or whatever, or CBR or whatever. No, it was CRB. Yeah,
CRB.
That was definitely a 2.0 because, dude, again, like the way everything worked for the battle deck changed. Cover changed completely,
but it was still kind of the same. This is like a completely different game almost.
I know, but it's still kind of the
it's
same.
not. It's again, it's different in some fundamental ways, but it's basically the same thing.
Look, when you become a multi-time fucking big event champion, I'll settle and say you're right.
Okay, JR, does this feel like a 2.0 to you? Because apparently you're the only one whose opinion matters here.
No, Kyle Dornbos matters. He said
it's 2.0. What are we even doing on the spot then, Jose? If our opinions are
2.0.
All right. Let's go to the next real question, please.
No, that was it. That's now you finished it.
All right.
He said it was a 3.0, so it's even worse.
All right, boys. All right.
Okay.
Anyways,
I don't think it matters if it's a 2.0 or not, by the way.
It
does because they said it wasn't. That's my hang-up.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's changed a lot, and that's what matters. Like,
it had changed a lot. Honestly, I'm okay. real quick, what do you guys think? This is good or bad? I think it's good. What do you got?
I think it's good.
Overall, I think it's positive.
Jose, what you got?
Yeah.
Let the hate flow through you.
No.
Give in to your
Come on, man.
anger.
Give in to your anger.
You're already taking it out on Rob, man. Come on.
Well, let's see it. Let's hear it. Game sucks. I want to hear you say
No, it doesn't. So I haven't played yet to make an informed decision, but the feelings I had was it was exciting and exhausting and depressing all at the same time. Exciting because it's a whole new game.
Good or bad?
Depressing because it's a whole new game, and exhausting because it's a whole new game.
That was a politician's answer. Come on. Do you like it or not?
Yeah,
yes or no?
I
haven't played. I can't.
Well,
no.
Wait,
What? Since when did you not give the hot off the take?
So rules as written, I fucking hate it. I hate everything
right,
about
it
it.
is.
I hate everything about it. But once I play it, my mind will change.
When the kids go back to school, or maybe we'll have Riker over and we'll play, and I'll show you how to play it. See what
our podcast next when that happens. I'm like, guys, I'm stepping away. I'm a full-time Warhammer player now.
He's like, no. You're gonna be like, I'm a Marvel Crisis Protocol fan now. I play that.
Yeah.
He's like this. He's like Legion is too much like MCP, so I'm quitting for MCP.
For MCP.
Oh my god. No, again, I think it's a good direction. Again, we'll get a bunch of new players. We'll get a revitalized interest in the game from people that haven't been playing it, because dude, it's been stale. Besides a few points updates here and there, it's been the same thing for too long, unfortunately. Again, like, even though they gave us the rules very last minute around LVO, that was a big change for everybody. It was a chance for people to kind of be like, all right, cool, let me try out the new system. So again, like, I think it's gonna be good. The only thing that upsets me is still the red, blue, green is red, orange.
He's more upset about the colors.
Dude, that upsets me. And we'll talk about that some other time, though, because I know everybody's a sleepy boys right now.
X-Wing just needs to make a room on the couch for us.
So whoever, if anybody listening runs an Etsy shop, please print out some cards where it's blue and not yellow, just for Roman.
Yeah. Just for me.
All right, boys. Anyways, thank you guys.
Hold on, wait, one more thing.
No,
it's not rules related. So
no, I don't.
I really love the art on all the new cards, the new unit cards.
They are pretty.
But
dope.
what doesn't make sense to me is if you look at all the product coming out, it all has the old art.
So
why not just do the new art on everything going forward, since you reintroduced?
I know.
I'm sure they will, but if you look at the rule book, there's some cards that you see in there that they haven't showed us. Like Standing Orders is totally different looking.
I just mean the unit cards. Like the Lucas full art looks dope, and then when you look at the next units that are coming out,
they said that they didn't final. I said the same thing, and what they told me in the Discord is they said
finalized.
The look wasn't finalized yet, so they just went with the old look.
That makes sense. And I hope they keep the art the same, because I love the new art is sick, dude.
Luke
running, that's so dope.
Yeah, very very Alex Ross. Yeah, dude.
I'm sure when they come out with the card pack, they might have different.
Oh yeah. So. All right. Last thing I want to say before we stop is we literally skipped the most important part of everything about Mini Stravaganza. Thrawn. Thrawn is coming into Legion.
Thrawn. Tarkin.
Can I be honest? That didn't even look like Thrawn in my opinion.
It kind of did.
Yeah.
It is Thrawn, but I totally agree. Like when I was looking at the minis at first, I'm like, oh, Imperial officers, this is cool. I looked and is that Thrawn?
Yeah, no, I screamed Thrawn right when I seen it. It's Thrawn.
But it took me a second to go, oh shit, it is Thrawn.
Well, it's Admiral Multi too. It's Admiral Multi.
It's not Multi, it's Tag. I thought it was Tag.
Is it Tag? Teague.
Yeah, because they were. Yeah, whatever. They already said who it is.
Tarkin, isn't there Krennic in it?
Krennic and Teague.
So we already have Krennic.
It's a new model.
But it's
with
Krennic with the hat and his swoosh.
Everyone's gonna be him a pimp jacket, dude.
All right.
Well, that's what we're gonna go over in another episode. I mean, what else got announced. Anyways,
sign up for the league. Good night.
Thank you to whoever's still watching this.
We're all falling asleep.
This was a long ass episode. Thank you for whoever's still watching it. But anyways, all right, boys. Thank you guys for joining me. See you guys later.
I'll give a half a league point to whoever says that. I'll give them a half a league point for watching this.
Leave a comment with the last thing we said.
Yeah. The code is, I don't know,
2.0.
There you go.
No, it's not.
See you guys. Good night.